All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Experience podcast. This time, a Space Marine 2 experience. We'll also be talking about Helldivers. Brought to you by the two most experienced and handsome Helldivers, Pipz or FaZe and Eravin.
Hi.
Yo. How's
Or
it
wait,
going?
I mean me and Pipz. My bad, Pipz.
Yo, what's up,
Wait.
chat?
So today will
Delay
be
throwing, bro.
always. Today will be a special Space Marine 2 episode because we are going to be talking about whether Space Marine 2 kills Helldivers. Because I swear to God, we talked about this already when we first started streaming Space Marine 2. What was your guys' most asked question in the chat?
That one.
Pips,
this
what was your
than Helldivers?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's FaZe's most asked question. Eravin, what was your most asked question when you started streaming Space Marine?
So this is the Helldivers killer. This one kills Helldivers, huh? Does this game kill Helldivers? Is this game better than Helldivers?
Pips, what about you?
Yeah, mine was like some dumbass jumping in and be like, like stupid laughs that they do. Yeah, you guys thought this would kill. Like, nobody thought it would kill hell. I don't know why people get this perception, but yeah, that was literally the most. Everybody would. Should I play this? I play Helldivers. Is it better? Is it gonna kill the game? That was 100% the most asked, especially on day one.
So we're obviously going to be talking about that. We're also going to give you a brief review. This is going to be my review, for this channel. Anyway, I'm not going to make a separate video on this. I'm sure the other guys will. But we'll give you a review on the game because lots of people didn't pre-order. That way, because full release is tomorrow? So that way anybody who's interested in the game can know about a lot of the upsides and downsides before you decide to pre-order. And then we will talk about some Helldivers news afterwards, and we've got a special live or dive segment planned, so that'll be fun. So first thing is first, does Space Marine 2 kill Helldivers? And of course, I've got the wrong. I'm throwing again, Pipz.
Yeah, you're throwing.
I'm throwing.
What the hell is that?
1 second. Where is it? No, I'm actually throwing. Why isn't it showing?
Take your time.
There we go.
Chat.
Okay, first topic. So I gotta pull this up because I've been talking about Space Marine like crazy on my channel, right? So people think I've been saying it'll kill Helldivers. I haven't been saying it'll kill Helldivers. I've been saying I'm gonna go play Space Marine while Helldivers is on vacation. So there was this Reddit post 10 days ago. Why is everyone comparing Space Marine 2 to Helldivers? And this is my Reddit account. And here's what I said 10 days ago before the game came out. It's as simple as many players from Warhammer have played Helldivers, Darktide especially. Many Helldiver players are interested in Space Marine. There doesn't need to be any comparison if it overlaps audience. Will Space Marines kill the game? No, that's not how that works. Will player numbers drop when Space Marine is out? Likely. So the full release is tomorrow. We'll see if I was right or wrong. Because I did think that player count would drop when Space Marine comes out because it shares audiences. But why do I think that? It's because what has Helldivers been doing? You know, we've been waiting for the 60-day plan. We finally got the update to the blog post, last week? So yeah, it's just like a rotation of games, something to do in the meantime, something to do on top of Helldivers as well. Like after this next patch comes out, how long is it till the patch after that? You know, I could come back to this game in the meantime as well. So anybody want to add to that?
I mean, at the end of the day, it was never about killing Helldivers. I don't think anybody especially that makes content, thought that it would kill the game. From my experience, that just doesn't happen like that. As you said in that post, it takes time, and if anything kills the game, it's usually the devs themselves, which kind of push away the community by their actions with their actions, right? So no, obviously that was never the point. The point was, will people that play Helldivers 2 play Space Marine 2? And the answer to that is yes. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get into this topic as well. But there's just so many things. Once again, we're going to discuss this in more detail. There's so many things that Space Marines 2 literally pinpointed that is wrong with Helldivers 2. It is such a perfect example of that, and we're going to discuss that. And everything that we were talking previously just shows that can be done in a game, and the game doesn't have to feel like shit. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it.
FaZe, Eravin, I know you guys want to give your thoughts on this topic.
Eravin, would you like to go first?
Sure. So
How polite.
I think something important to remember is Sony couldn't kill Helldivers 2. They tried really hard. That's a multi-billion-dollar company trying to kill their own game. And that couldn't even stop Helldivers, you know? And Arrowhead is trying really hard to kill Helldivers, and that's not killing Helldivers. So, I mean, what can even kill Helldivers at that point? Pretty much nothing. Now, they overlap in audiences, obviously, but, you know, did Helldivers kill Destiny 2? Did Helldivers kill Darktide? Did it kill Vermintide? Those are where the player base came from for Helldivers, but those games are still seeing player counts. People are still playing those games, right? So it's like, of course it's not going to kill Helldivers 2.
Yeah.
They just overlap in audience. People will just spread out and play different games. That's all there is to it.
I agree.
Yeah. The quote from the game: "Helldivers never die." I don't think it will die. I don't think it will die. I really don't. I think this game, say what you want about it, is ingrained in gaming history now. It will not die. There will always be a cross-section of people who want to play this game. I said this in a previous video. There are people out there who couldn't care less about the nerfs, about the buffs, about getting ragdolled. They come in from work, they've got 7 screaming children that have just gone to bed, and they want to sit and play difficulty 5 with a beer and have fun for an hour. And it's great for that.
Difficulty 7. Difficulty 7.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Come on.
The problem is, though, if they drop below, if those people, which are, guarantee you, are probably most likely the minority, if that number of people just keeps dropping, though, then it's a problem. Oh, obviously, the game is at the point and has made so much money that it's just ridiculous to even talk about it dying just out of the, like, oh, it's dead, guys. The servers are gone. That's not happening yet.
I would say look at Suicide Squad, because I think they didn't see a lot of player count on Steam up front, but I do believe they sold a lot of pre-orders. And I'm pretty sure that game is still putting out updates, which is insane to think about.
That is crazy.
Is
That
it?
player base is so low.
Yeah, didn't they just put
Wow.
out a new villain like pretty recently, within the last month?
Yeah, they did something. Yeah.
No
They
idea.
put out the female penguin, I think.
Oh. You do have to give them some more credit in that phase. They're not the devs. They're just dads. They're playing on 7 for sure, not 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I take it back.
That's why I said
Take it
7.
back.
I
It's
think
7. Sorry, chat.
I st-
Sorry.
I still think the most played difficulties are 6 and 7, honestly.
Probably.
I think most
Yeah.
people like 7 because they want that little bit of challenge. They just don't want it to feel impossible. Which it can feel impossible. All right, so Space Marine 2 just came out. I think there are some valid pros and cons as well to the game. The game's very fun. There's a very, very deep combat system, which I know Pipz wants to blabber about. He wants to yap about the combat system.
Yep. Yeah.
So I'll let him do that in a second. But there are some cons to this early release phase. I really hope they get a patch out tomorrow. So I'll be sure to bring up a lot of the cons. That way, anybody who's looking to purchase the game on full release, because I know a lot of people don't pre-order. And I also said last week on the podcast, do not pre-order, even though I've been hyping it. I mean, I'm sorry. I hyped up the game because I was buying it. I did buy it. You know what I mean? It's hard not to hype up a game you're buying. But I told people don't pre-order last week. You know, that's my job, to go sit through all the bugginess and the, you know, every game has a rocky launch. Did they have a patch today, Balu? Oh yeah, they did do server maintenance this morning. Okay.
Maintenance,
Something was going on, yeah. Something went on.
Patch is dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, there's been some problems with the servers. So let's start talking about the upsides. Let's talk about the combat system, Mr. Pipz. How do you feel about the combat system? And in comparison to Helldivers as well, because you brought that up.
Okay. The combat system in the game is just it's phenomenal. So what happens with the combat system that everybody that plays the game should take into account is when you're starting off the game, if you're like even if you're not like a really experienced gamer in general, this is one thing to keep in mind. It is very deep and there's many phases to the combat system in this game that you really need to understand. So for example, there's the parry system, there's the perfect dodge, and then there's, when they're jumping at you, there's obviously another form of parry and you see that blue light. So when you time it, all of those things are different ways to stay alive. And this game isn't built around like your HP bar as you would think mostly. So you don't have to necessarily think about your HP bar. It's mostly built around armor. And you need to understand that and utilize that. The combat system, once again, is very deep, and it goes to the next level as you upgrade your character. So a lot of people like I've talked to were like, yeah, but when I start off the game, it feels like this and I can't stay alive. Yes, because it's the beginning of the game. Once you upgrade your characters, by the way, like I've fully upgraded a class, both on weapons, on the class level as well. I'm almost done with the second class fully upgraded. I've also played like tons of PvP. We can talk about that later. But the combat system, right? It's a very in-depth thing. So, for example, when at the beginning you might feel like there's no ammo economy, right? Oh my God, my ammo is not there if you're playing the heavy class, for example. But then you realize that the way the heavy class is built is if you upgrade the melta weapon, you literally have infinite ammo. And it has two different kind of weapons. And what you can do, because the game gives you the ability to switch loadouts mid-game, as you're progressing to checkpoints, you can clear the first wave with the melta and then go absolutely insane on the boss fights with the plasma gun. And both of those take investment and a lot of time and a lot of build crafting and testing to figure out which builds are really good. But the reality is the game starts on higher levels as you unlock abilities, guys. So if you're struggling a little bit at the beginning and you're having ammo issues, because I've heard a lot of people say this, all of that goes away if you build it correctly. And also, obviously, the movement, how you just focus on one thing, find one combo system. Every class has this. I've tested every single class. Every class has this almost at the beginning, actually, but especially if you're leveling up the weapons. Like, for example, the combat knife has a combo that will guaranteed turn the small enemies to gun hittable enemies, right? So meaning you'll do a combo and it will guaranteed turn into them. And this way you have your armor up 24/7. So I have a full gameplay on the max difficulty, for example. I played solo and with like 2 bots, and I had 0 HP almost like half of the game, and I just survived off of that combo. When I needed, I'd do that. I'd get my armor two times. So it takes time to learn the game, and that's what I really love about it. And in comparison to Helldivers 2, it is on a completely different level when it comes to the quality and fluidity of the game. And I'm sure that we're also gonna separately discuss what's the differences and the huge pros and differences between Helldivers 2. So I'm gonna leave it for that part of the podcast. But when it comes to the combat, yeah, it's extremely fluid once you manage to learn it and put some time into the characters. Sorry for the long rant.
I didn't want to interrupt you. I wanted to highlight where you talked about the ammo as well. FaZe, I'll let you go right after this. I'm quick. With the ammo, because I have seen some people complaining about ammo as well. Even when I build very ammo inefficiently, as long as I don't play dumb, I honestly don't see myself having ammo problems. What I will say is I'm playing Vanguard and I'm using the Melta shotgun, which is what you guys saw in the background. That thing does insane damage, but it has low ammo. So against the Tyranids, which are like more the melee ranged enemies, that's a really good shotgun to use because it blasts out waves of them. But against the Chaos, I've learned that I probably want to bring the assault rifle anyway, because a lot of them are more ranged fights to begin with, and then the assault rifles are less ammo inefficient. So I do feel like some of the ammo complaints are a little unjustified just because I've already kind of learned how to play the game a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's 100% tied to the fact that people that keep saying that there's ammo issues haven't really progressed in the game. And at the same time, you know how we used to say like it's a knowledge check in Helldivers 2. It's also in a way same here, because you realize that ammo doesn't only come from the caches, right? You can break some of the items, and
Yeah.
there's tons of ammo around. So yeah.
FaZe, go ahead.
I just kind of agree with what people are saying in terms of the combat and what you've both said in terms of ammo. But for me, the thing that's really great about the combat system and the game generally is just once you realize it's not a button mashing spam fest, it's very formulaic. You've got to kind of understand what is synergizing with what in your build and make split decision choices to ensure that you are going to stay alive. It's like playing chess. You're like looking a few moves ahead. It's like, I need to get that down for a gun. What's it called? A gun
strike.
Yes,
yeah, I need a gun strike there. I need to make sure there's an execute there. So I'm going to take some damage there. So I'm going to get the execute to get my armor back. I'm going to gun strike that to get my damage buff. And then I'm going to gun strike that guy to get my damage buff again. And then I'm going to turn with my machine gun and waste them all because I've now got a 50% damage buff. That's going to run out after 5 seconds. And then I need to do it again. And it's like, once that happens, once that moment happens and you're like, I get it now. It's not just about spam, spam, spam. It's like, come on, hit me, block, block, bang. Oh,
and
man,
run,
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
it's so
man.
fun to play.
I agree.
It's such a formulaic way of playing. And it's a bit like, it reminds me of playing. I don't know if anyone ever played games like Star Wars The Old Republic, so an MMO, the PvP system in that game, the way they had the classes synergies working, the proc systems. I used to play the assassin in it, and you had to do X, Y, and Z to make sure X, Y, Z happened, and you had to be so forward thinking, and it feels a lot like that, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
Agreed.
Yeah, the executions are my favorite.
Crazy.
So Eravin, you've been playing the sniper class, and I've been seeing you do a lot of Dark Souls tactics on your stream. Have you figured out your class better?
Yeah, I would say I've got a pretty good handle on it at this point.
What's your experience been with that?
Well, I mean, when it comes to the whole ammo thing, I feel like people just really like to complain about literally anything that they can, because whenever you give me a rifle and say, okay, it's got 12 rounds, then I say, okay, well, I have to be really careful how I use those. I don't say, wow, I want more ammo, cringe. No, it's like, use the rounds correctly, use them well, kill Majoris with the 12 rounds, use your other weapons for everything else, pay attention to what your team is doing, and don't waste shots on things that they've already got sorted, you know? Like, it's just take care of your ammo supply, and then you get to be an absolute god whenever you get to the ammo boxes. You just shred everything. You just spam the trigger until everything dies with the las, and it's like, okay, this is pretty good. This is pretty strong. And I mean, I felt like that from the beginning of the game all the way to where I am now, and it's never really felt like I was weak. And this is probably the hardest section to go last in, because you guys already talked about a lot of this stuff. But I will focus on one part that we didn't talk about. Have you guys actually experienced many bugs?
Connection issues.
Just connection issues, but not like in-game bugs. Because I was going to say, I haven't had a Carnifex fall on me and kill me after I walk over its corpse.
Nothing.
You know?
That's a good point, Eravin.
So
yeah.
I think has to do with connection issues, but some of my skills stopped working one game. There was one game where my one skill... so I have a ability cooldown on executions, and it wasn't giving me the ability cooldown. It was giving it to my teammate, and I was like, this is a connection issue, and I restarted the game, and it worked.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
So I guess to focus on the question of the Helldivers 2 comparison, I feel like I've been playing a much more polished game for the last few days.
100%.
Because I have not been running into nearly as many problems as I do in just a daily basis on Helldivers. Like, there are bugs in Helldivers that have literally been around for 7 months that you just deal with as a fact of life. Hell, they thought the flamethrower was a bug. You know, the thing roasting chargers in their trailer, that was a bug.
Yeah.
What is going on over there as far as like quality assurance, right? But this game's clean. Like, everything works. I haven't encountered that many bugs. I've gotten stuck in terrain once because I got pushed out of bounds, and that is about it.
Yeah.
Oh, and in Space Marine, you got pushed out of bounds?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah, one of the Chaos Marines pushed me on top of a rock that was outside of bounds, and I couldn't get back into the map.
Oh, I know one bug.
What?
My friend, Dream, he plays Bulwark, and he has this annoying bug. When he grabs his loadout, he regens his full HP every single time. Bro.
Yeah.
So we go into fights and his full HP. He doesn't even give a shit about the stims, nothing. And I'm
think
like
they'll fix
praying
that
over
one?
here every time I go to the loadout, but it never fucking happens. Well, like he always gets full HP. So
Yeah.
that's a good bug.
That is a bug with Bulwark. Yeah.
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 What do we think about? And this, you just got me thinking, Eravin. And actually, Eravin, you might have something to say about this, given that you're a bot player on Helldivers. And Pipz, you've mentioned this, just general sort of game mechanics stuff. The
Yeah.
Tyranid Warriors with the sniper weapons is a prime example of just thinking a little bit about what the player needs to interact with the game. Like you get
How long have I been saying that, Face?
that little line that you get, and it's like you're gonna get sniped. You've got to move, and it's happening now on the screen now.
Right
look,
there.
That was
Yeah,
good timing.
exactly. Yeah, good timing.
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, and it adds that sense of urgency. How good would it be if they just added something like that in Helldivers for Devastators or something?
Reginald brought this up when he was on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
And sound cues too.
Hey, look, there it is again.
Sound cues, man.
Sound cues. Look at this. A boss fight. Imagine. Helldivers couldn't possibly include this, could they? Diving through things, pressing Alt to dive through. Honestly, this would work in Helldivers.
Yeah, it really
This would work.
I would probably settle for the Berserker chainsaws making any noise. That would be kind of neat.
One other thing I want to bring up. One thing I want to bring up real quick. So in the background footage, well, actually, I got to harp on one thing with the ammo. Number one, I just don't run out of ammo on most of the maps, and I feel like on the longer maps that don't have as much ammo reserves, like against some of the chaos enemies, I started just bringing the assault rifle, and now I'm fine because like the melta shotgun, I'm picking the weapon with no ammo. Like, how am I going to complain about that? And on most maps, I don't run out. I straight up don't run out. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the healing in this game. And I paused the boss fight because I think people who haven't played Vermintide or Darktide might not know about this. But let's skip to the part where he chunks my entire health bar and I regen it instantly. And this is not a class ability. Let's just get to it. Gonna chunk me here. There's one slice and he chunks me again. Look, I got it all back. So let's go for the next slice. So there we go. So this white health is what's known as contested health. So if you deal damage, enough damage, you will gain this health back. It's literally lifesteal. So literally when I'm fighting the Hive Tyrant, I just get in his face. I go for as many dodges and gun strikes as possible. And if he damages me, then I get my contested health back. So that's one thing I feel like. What I will say is I definitely wish the stims on the higher difficulty did heal you more. Because as you progress the difficulties, you do get less stims, less pickups, less items. And the stims heal you less. And I'm like, that seems like a little much, but...
is a little excessive.
So yeah, I do wish the stims did heal you on higher difficulty, because it is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
I
mean, at the same time, like there's so many cool things, man. And somebody was saying like in the chat, like it's the replayability, and I keep hearing this a lot, right? Like it's gonna get boring real fast. It's all about like doing the missions and end game is replayable. Bro, what game is there that is a live service game that doesn't ask you to do the same shit over and over again? I've played almost like Destiny 2, in the first Descendant fillet, there was like so many special missions and stuff, right? As you get into the harder difficulty. Yeah. Guess what we did? We stood in a freaking cave 7 hours straight, pressed the space bar so we could jump because it would like reach with a specific skill and kill shit around us so we could level up faster. That's literally what 80% of the community was doing. You know what I mean? Like we always find those things as a community, especially the ones that want to progress faster and create cool builds at the beginning, to do those things. So that to me is not as something that is like, oh my God, why is everybody doing the missions? Now I will say that there should be more, obviously. But one thing that the game has going for it that is very, very important is this. As Eravin mentioned, there's not many bugs at all, and the gameplay is extremely fun. So as long as they add shit, this game has every kind of thing going for it to be an amazing game.
Yeah, so one thing we could bring up in terms of content as well is their year one battle plan. So as someone pointed out in chat, Space Marines isn't a live service game. What Space Marines is the classic style $60 game, and then they have DLC. Now in this game, they only sell you cosmetics. The DLC is actually free. So if you didn't pre-order and you're still thinking about purchasing tomorrow for the regular edition, you only get cosmetics in terms of the DLC. But in Season 2, which I'm assuming is 2 months from now, I think this is going to be the last 2 months of the year, we're getting multiple new PvE missions, we're getting a higher difficulty, there's also a new pistol, and new enemy types. So if we look at this roadmap, we could see September is Season 1. I don't know if Season 2 starts October, but the way I read this is like Season 1, I guess maybe this is just September. Maybe Season 2 starts in October. But this will go to the end of the year. So either October or November, we'll be getting more PvE missions, a new enemy, and then in Season 3, even more missions, another PvP game mode, another new enemy, prestige ranks, and the Battle Barge expansion. Does anyone know what the Battle Barge is?
I think it's gonna be
chill on whenever you're between missions.
Okay.
And have like little sparring matches, I think, on there, like 1v1s maybe, I think.
They
Possibly.
confirmed Season 2 is October through year end. Yeah, I just realized that this said September. So I guess this starts in October. So next month, there's going to be more PvE missions.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to answer, somebody said, but in Destiny, we had raids coming. Bro, a lot of times people do this. They compare a game that is out for 7 years to a game that just launched. Now, once again, I'm saying that there definitely can be more content. 100%, there's no doubt about it. But to say that the replayability, you're doing the same, when Destiny 1 started, it was probably one of the worst launches ever. And the first DLCs were absolutely horrific too. So what I'm saying is, compared to those games, fundamentally the game has a very good start, apart from the connection issues. And I think the gameplay, personally for me, is very, very fun. And if they add content that is interesting, the game can have an amazing future. There's a different story if they don't do that. We have the year one battle plan, so a lot of shit that is in here is very, very interesting. Now, is it going to be enough for a lot of people? I don't know. But also, progression isn't just that. That's another thing, right? For me, progression is there's 6 different characters, and I want to invest into all of them. I've played nonstop, and I barely am halfway on the second character, and it's like so many weapons I haven't even touched to fully upgrade, right? So the progression in terms of build crafting is very, very deep. What do you think about this, Eravin?
I actually have a pretty good argument about the repetition argument for the game.
I'd love to hear it.
Left 4 Dead, really well-loved classic. Lots of people played it. Tons of people played it. Like, FaZe, how many times have you played No Mercy? How many times have you played that campaign, you think?
I've lost count, man. I used to be in a competitive Left 4 Dead team back in the day.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
You
insane.
play-
Game. It still has a scene.
You play the same maps over and over, and you don't get bored. Why is that? It's because it plays out different every time.
Yeah.
And it's the same with this game. It plays out different every time. Even the horde sections,
Exactly.
the enemy comes from a different location half the time. They have like 3 or 4 different areas that they can come in from during the horde section. So they've even mixed that up. And then you get jumped by different elite enemies at different places at different times. The horde swarms in from different places at different times. And it changes up the way the level plays dramatically, even though you're playing the same level. And then you get into the fact that you're mixing 3 different classes in that same mission. You're mixing 3 different classes with 3 different weapons in that same mission. And there's plenty of variety within those 6 missions. There really is. There's tons of variety within those 3 missions. Or 6 missions. And on top of that, you're playing it through 4 different difficulty modes, and none of those feel really the same. Like, they definitely get dramatically more difficult as you go up.
Some of the RNG is insane too. Like sometimes
dude,
when you
you
just
get
fight,
jumped by
Yeah.
like a million warriors all in one section that weren't there the last time you played through. It was just all quiet on the Western Front the last time.
or a
And
million
Eravin.
whip dudes.
Yeah.
Everything you talked about is just PvE progression. I've been playing tons of PvP, and the progression there and the amount of games you need to put in to level up, to unlock everything, and also the customization is also insane. Like from what I counted, you have to play hundreds of games to like be able to use any weapon in the game because some of them are tied to levels. So that progression is also on the other side, right? Like if you enjoy PvP, there's just so much to chase as well.
Is the progression in PvP separate from PvE?
Completely separate. Yeah.
Completely separate. So you don't gain
Yeah.
XP for PvE and PvP
No,
together.
no.
Okay, so
it's
that's a
completely
whole nother
separate.
system then. for you to
Exactly.
test it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have
yeah.
a whole nother game mode with PvP,
Yes.
and then you also have a full length campaign.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see people's issue with the value proposition for Space Marine 2. At the $60 price tag, it's
Yeah.
a $60 game. And it plays like a $60 game. You don't get bugs for the most part. You have a pretty
No.
clean experience. Even in early access, the servers are functional, which is better
Yeah.
than we get 9 times out of 10 with these kind of games.
True.
I agree.
True.
They
But need to
actually
fix that fucking connection stuff though.
Well,
like with friends and
they
invites.
just did. Yeah,
Yep.
server connection was probably my biggest complaint, but they actually
Yeah.
just did server maintenance this morning. So maybe that fixes it. Hopefully, I have to log on today and see. Yeah, like I said on the podcast last week, don't pre-order games because you end up just playing an early access beta. And I'm not saying that about this game because this game is very, very polished. It runs fairly smoothly. I did have to update. I had 2 updates to my AMD graphics card. And then after that, it ran very, very smoothly. Now, some of the other downsides I would say is that in the campaign, I've seen a lot of people complaining about playing the campaign solo because your teammate AI is just like really stupid and none of the enemies aggro them and all the ranged dudes just like kill you on like veteran or the harder difficulty. So I think they need to do something about the solo campaign. I just wanted to shout that out. I didn't play solo.
Me too.
Also, one complaint I had is in my perk tree. I don't know. Let me know about you guys. It feels like there are a lot of useless perks.
Yes.
Which I kind of dislike.
Yeah.
I-
There are. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
I think there's
Go
some of the perks I do need to experiment with because, for example, my class Vanguard has a ton of skills that make you take less range damage, and I tried some of them on their own, and they didn't really seem to do anything. I haven't tried stacking them all together just yet. But like, I don't know, it kind of feels bad because it's like, what, I'm just gonna use all my perks on blocking range damage. If it was like 2 or 3 or something, I'd be okay with it. But it's like at least 3 in my skill tree, and then I think there's 1 on my melee weapon where if I'm spamming light combos, I take less from ranged. So it just seems like I have to spam so much perks. We talked about the stims. I do think healing isn't too bad once you learn the game, and that could be on a class-to-class basis, which I'm sure it is. But at the same time, I do think the stims probably should heal you better on the higher difficulties, because especially if they're coming out with a lethal difficulty, what is this stim going to heal you 10%? And
probably
then,
just won't be stims in the game.
I mean, and then a few other things, just some small things. There's no FOV slider, which annoys me because I'm a max FOV gamer. And then there was no aim down sight sensitivity on keyboard mouse, which usually I like making that a bit slower.
Bindings feel terrible for mouse and keyboard. I will say that.
On controller,
down
there's ADS sensitivity, but not
okay.
not on keyboard mouse.
Mouse and keyboard feels, and I'm playing on mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard does feel quite awkward, to say the least. I've had to play around the keybinds quite a lot, and I still just, it's like the ADS has to be on a button, and the
all my
parrying
keybinds are
is
good.
on the- I'm not a fan of it. I was actually considering switching to controller because it felt like I was playing Dark Souls on a mouse and keyboard.
Phase, I'll share my keybinds with you. My keybinds feel fine.
Am I the
That'd be
only one
great.
that rebound all their controls to
Yes.
just be the same as Helldivers?
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think what do they have on right click as default? Melee?
It's melee.
Yeah, they had melee on right click as default.
Yeah, I just put melee on a mouse button, and my right click is aim down sights.
Yeah, I put mine on
Okay.
F, and then I put the stim on V, and I put aim on right click.
I think I have my ability on V.
I need to do some rehashing.
Phase,
I
I'll
feel
I'll go over keybinds with you after the stream. They're not bad.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Me personally.
Nice.
But everything I listed are really my only downsides. I feel like the biggest one was the servers, which they did server maintenance today. So hopefully that's not bad anymore. We will see. But that's the kind of stuff you get with early access, guys. This is what these gaming companies do. It is what it is.
The perk thing, I do just want to go back to what you said there. I think that for me is my main concern about the longevity of the game. Like,
Yeah, builds.
when I heard about the game and saw it and first came out and looked at all the perks on the weapons, I was like, yo, there's loads to do. And then a few reviews were saying it's a little bit light, and I was like, nah, maybe they don't know what they're doing. And then I looked, and I've experimented a little bit, and it very much feels at the moment, but at least with the setups that I've played and with the people I've played, that just going for the highest DPS is king, and that all the survivability stuff just doesn't particularly feed into it as well. I might be wrong there. That's just a first impression, but it does feel like there are some perks on the tactical, for example. You look through it on the list, and it's just like, why would I ever use this? Like, what's the point of this?
For tactical though, that's because your skill. It's not that those skills might be as bad. It's because some of your skills are extremely broken.
Yeah,
The tactical has very broken skills that kind of puts all the skills away. There's no reason for you to kind of use it. Like if you look at the sniper, even in the signature skills, there's 2 skills that are extremely good, and the other skills, like you literally get infinite ammo on the sniper. That's fucking crazy. You can play it and heal yourself with it, like if you build it correctly. So I feel like also, like, even if you take a look at the first Ascendant, that's what just gamers love to do. I feel like they love to go full DPS. And if you look at like the way this game is built, it gives you the ability to not do that by classes more than builds. So for example, you have the Bulwark. So if you don't want to do that, you can play like crazy survivability, man. Dream plays that build, and dude, he is unkillable. It's so fun to watch, and like when I'm dead, I'm right away switching to him. I just enjoy watching it. So
Vanguard.
my question,
Go ahead.
my question would be though, how many ways can you build each class?
Yeah.
I wasn't saying that.
that's gonna depend on the weapon.
All of them are busted, but like, how many ways can you legitimately build, say, the tactical? In high difficulties, probably quite a few ways because of how many weapons it gets. But what about the ones with less? Is it that the Bulwark can only be played 2 ways, 1 way? Is it that the Vanguard can only be played 1 way? That's what I'm.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you're looking at as perspective of I'm gonna have a tactical build and that's it. What I'm trying to say is if you get into the other classes, then you have completely different builds. And those, for example, you play tactical, but if you want a different kind of feel of a build, you go to the sniper. And if you want something different, you go to the heavy. And if you want something different, you go to the Bulwark. And on top of that, those dudes have different kind of setups. And you'll notice that some of the characters, some of the classes have perks that directly tie to one of the weapons, not to the class, but to the weapon. For example, the heavy class has a skill where it gives the Melta weapon that it carries infinite ammo if you kill more than 2 enemies, which that gun always does that. It gives you back every shot. So the way the classes and the perks are made is they're trying to tie them to different weapons, so you have those builds off of different weapons and not just one, if that makes sense.
I think it very much depends on what class you're playing as well. Like sniper, I've been able to feel out at least 3 different good build paths that you could go with and play end game with. Like there's, you can probably do like a carbine medic focused build where you have the clutch perks to pick up your team whenever everything goes bad. You got the full damage, big sniper damage loadout. You could change that up a little bit, and you could go for horde clear with the las fusel. Like,
Yes.
yeah, like Pipz has been saying, you can get theoretical infinite ammo on the las fusel by collateraling enemies. Every time you
Yep.
hit 2 enemies, you get a shot back. So that's a perk you can choose, and then you can focus more on horde clear at the expense of some of your damage potential on the Majoris
can-
and extremist threats. And then there's
Yeah.
also a melee build that
Melee
you can
build,
get into
yes.
too. Yeah, there's
was
a
thinking about
stealth
that.
like rogue
Yeah.
kind of melee build that you can get into, and that's pretty viable. And
Yeah.
honestly, the thing about that though is those are things that you only really start to see whenever you're maxed on that class. There isn't really like a lot of versatility to how you can play the class early on, and that's kind of due to the whole I kind of don't really like the way they have the perks set up where it's like in the beginning you unlock that top line and it's like, well, I'm not making any choices here. I'm just taking the top line because I don't get any other choices until later. And that feels a little bit weird to me because it's like, well, there's no early game build here. This is just what I have. But
Yeah.
other than that, once you get towards the end, it definitely feels like at least Sniper for me has had several different viable ways that I could play the game or choose to play the game just on the one class.
Yeah,
I agree.
also on Vanguard, I feel like I have a completely different class when it comes to Tyranids versus
Yes, that's another good point.
Chaos. Like I have to
Ah,
build
very good
completely different. Worst donated 50, and he says, in short, no, hype is
Worst?
just that, nothing new or interesting. HD2 offers layers of skill and options, but same after a month of play. For me, this is a bland game with different skins and environments. Not that much lack of game video options. No Hannah view, piss off. Yeah, Worst has an ultra wide monitor.
Me too. And I
They're
can't
adding
use
that
it.
this month.
Yeah,
right?
they need to add the ultra wide. Worst, we still got to get into some games, man. We haven't played together
But,
yet. I got
I
to
would
run
like
you
to
through.
ask first, like what do, and this is an honest question, what layers of skill do you think that is in Helldivers 2 that is like actual more layers than there is than in Space Marines 2 in terms of skill? Like, because I don't know if in terms of skill, I think I would love to hear your thoughts. I think that Space Marines takes way more skill to play than Helldivers 2. Like, that's just my opinion.
Worst, I appreciate the dono, by the way.
Thank you, Worst.
Thank you. Video game on with the 5 and said, did you see the Xenos that followed me out of the trails in the Space Marine channel? I'll check it out later, Video Game Mom. Thank you for the 5. Can we get some we got a new Space Marine emote. Sergeant made me some new W7s. Can we spam some emotes, please? Worst, we got to play together. I'll run you through some Space Marine games. It'll be really fun. Oh, I skipped to this page
Whose
on
character
accident.
is that?
We were gonna get to this in a second. This was gonna be another
Damn, that character
upside to the game.
looked good.
Yeah, this is gonna be another upside to the game. All right, let's just do it. All right, one major upside to the game, in my opinion, that Worst pointed out is the customization, dude. The drip. I got to get my purple and white branded Space Marine. Look at all my medals on my character. It's beautiful.
Yes.
And then I think this is Video Game Mom. The green and bronze, that's sick. We have a drip channel in my Discord as well. Here's a bulwark, some bulwark drip.
Damn, the bulwark looks
That
cool.
looks great. Is
Yeah,
that
dude.
Ziny?
Yeah,
Zinni, yeah.
yeah, Zinni.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bulwark gets some immaculate drip.
It does.
Yeah, there's some awesome drip in the game. Dude, where were we at? I accidentally pulled that page up.
Also, Space Marines lets you transmog your guns
Yeah, transmog is great.
into other skins. Yeah.
So good, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like Space Marines in general, I do really like the combat system. One thing I'll say about parrying is make sure you got your fencing melee weapon equipped. What is the
Saw that
point?
happen last night.
What is the point? What is the point of the other melee weapons on there? I feel like maybe against Chaos, I could use like a blocking weapon because I don't parry them too much.
Usually it's a
Getting
huge damage increase when you go block though.
It's
So
not
if you're
that
trying
much.
to go like for the combat knife, it's like 30%, and some other weapons also have like 35 to 40%. So it goes from like 9 damage to 15. That's actually more than 30.
On the
So-
on the chain sword, the highest damage one is the balanced one.
That's 15,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Balance 15 is very high. And also
Yeah.
like balanced is very good too. Like it has slightly smaller window, but it's still very good.
Depends how you want to play it. Like if you're playing, particularly the chainsword, for me, it's more of an initiator for getting gun strikes and stuff rather than actually going in there throwing it around. So using fencing makes sense because you want to be getting the parries off and getting those gun strikes. But if you're playing a class, I'm imagining that's really heavily melee focused, you're going to want to forgo fencing and maybe just go block or whichever one it is that gives you loads of damage and throw yourself around a little bit more. That's kind of how I've interpreted what they're trying to get players to do. But again, I think I'm only 40 hours in, so I'm not entirely sure there.
Fencing has the longer parry window, which means it's
Yeah.
less punishing whenever you miss
Yeah.
because you're more likely to
Yeah.
actually hit it, and it's better for learning probably. But what ends up probably happening is I'm pretty sure the balanced weapon always ends up having like statistically better stats than the parrying
it's
weapon.
Faster and heavier
And you
damage.
can still parry with the balanced weapon. It's just a tighter window. So probably as you like play the game more and more, it's probably better to phase out the fencing weapon and switch into the balanced weapon just to have the more powerful weapon on your hands other than the fencing ability. But the fencing is going to be like a fantastic learning tool and probably what everyone should take for the first like 20, 30, 40 hours of the game as they're like getting used to the windows. And then like maybe try to experiment with the balanced weapon at that point, but I don't see the point in a blocking weapon at all. The
Yeah.
stats might be higher, but like giving up the ability to parry is just a no for me.
Relic with the $5 says Space Marines 2 is boring. Helldivers 2, even in current state, is a more enjoyable experience. Enjoy y'all's content. I appreciate the $5, Relic.
Thank you, man.
I just think they're definitely heavily different games. Space Marines is definitely way more focused on the melee system, more than anything. One thing I'll say I did was when I first started playing, I loaded the campaign on Angel of Death, hardest difficulty campaign. Anybody who was in the stream can tell you how many times I died on that literal first warrior because I was just practicing parrying, and I don't know, now I'm good at parrying. So I would recommend just stick it on the highest difficulty, do that intro mission, and just die to that warrior over and over again until you parry every single attack. I wasn't even fighting him either. I was just parrying until I died over and over. Also, I feel like everyone before Space Marines came out and when it came out, everyone was saying it'll kill Helldivers, and then now that it's out, everyone's like, I like Helldivers.
Yeah, that's always gonna be a part of the community, and that's a good thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Where people get like they really like one game and they want to stick with it. There's nothing wrong with it. The same way there's nothing wrong with playing two games at the same time. A lot of the times people get very emotional about these things, and they're like, "Oh, how dare you say this? My game is this, and I love this game, and the other game sucks, and nothing will ever come out that will be better," or vice versa. I think the reality is you should always play the games that you enjoy. It doesn't matter who says what. If you're willing to try something, try it. If you enjoy it, you play it. Who the fuck cares what we say or anyone says for that matter? If you enjoy a game, have fun with the game, guys. That's all it's about. It's a completely different kind of game, but it also interests the same people because the genre is similar in terms of killing aliens and smashing them. And one game promotes a different kind of play style. The second game promotes a different kind of play style. So whichever you enjoy more, play that one. That's all it's about.
What I was ultimately looking for with this game is something to do while I'm waiting for this big patch for Helldivers 2. And Helldivers has slowed down their cadence. They've said that twice now, that they've slowed down the cadence of their updates. They took a big long vacation in the middle of the summer. I'm playing until this next Helldivers patch. Then I'll come back to Helldivers and do that content. And I'm going back to Space Marine 2 until the patch after that. I need another game to play at this point because Helldivers has just, I don't know. There haven't been a lot of good games that came out this year. I mean, what? Concord died in a week? Like, what am I supposed
Wukong was
to...
very good, but it's not a live service.
Yeah, I didn't play Wukong.
Wukong was incredible for sure.
That's true. Worst with another 5 says only reason to play this game was the newness. It has already worn off after 2 days. That's not being negative, just a fact. I like Helldivers too. I mean, worse. That's your opinion though. And
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
still want to
sure.
run some games with me, dude? Come on, we got to run through some games. We got to run through some games together. I think every game is more fun with friends, including Helldivers. Like, I've also said this in the past. Solo Helldivers is freaking boring. I'm sorry. It's not it. It ain't it. The reason I've been able to play Helldivers so long is because I stream the game and I always have a full lobby every single time. It's way more fun that way.
Yeah, that's all. That also shows, right? Everybody likes to play the game the way, like you'll find playing with others way more entertaining. While I think the same, it's way more entertaining in terms of creating cool memories and just laughing and having fun. I really enjoy the challenges of the solo experience as well. Like I actually can't wait till they add the solo lobbies to the game. Currently, you can't really do that. I just got lucky yesterday. I went in and didn't really add anyone to me, so I had 2 bots running around with me, and it was really fun to see how you go against the boss solo and how it feels and plays. But yeah, I can't wait for that change as well.
Video Game Mom with the $2 says you still haven't let me in. Video Game Mom, you know you could play as well. Let's game ASAP. I got you worst. Go ahead, Eravin.
The slowdown on the cadence of Helldivers 2 has been really tough for me to stick with it, if I'm being completely honest. Like, before
here.
that slowdown, if we look at the quality of the war bonds we were just getting absolutely trash. Like, nothing was worth using on release. Like, I think the
Yeah.
pummeler, but before the cadence slowdown, I think the pummeler was like the only gun that had come out in a while since like Democratic Detonation that was worth using.
I think it wasn't it the war?
And they
right
like
after Democratic
upgraded.
Detonation?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it
Yeah,
a
like
month after
Democratic
though?
Detonation, I think it was a month after, and then like all the guns were terrible. And then it was like 2 months after that, and then we got Viper Commandos, and all of the guns were terrible, and the throwing knives still make me mad to this day. And like every single warbond, we get some pieces of the warbond that are like really good, and then everything else is just unapologetically dog.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so hard to stay excited for like new items in a game whenever the cadence is slowed down to 1 every 2 months and your expectations have been lowered to 1 worthwhile item out of the entire bond.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's just like it's hard to stay excited for that kind of cadence and release schedule and play like just that game. I mean, the progression system of Helldivers 2 is just completely worthless. It's terrible. Like
Non-existent.
you max out so fast. And if you
Yeah,
maxed out, like if you were
exactly.
playing the game a lot whenever it released, you hit max level, the original max level, you hit max items, like you had everything unlocked in the entire game before we even liberated the first system in the game for the major order.
And that's what
Like,
I'm saying,
easily.
Eravin, where people are saying there's this one is repetitive and there's no progression. It's like how is there not more progression here than there was in Helldivers 2? I don't get it. Like
I
as you
think
said,
I think it's what Cam Girl said. All games are repetitive. Most activities
Yes.
IRL too. It's only an
100%.
issue. It's only an issue in a game if you personally don't like the thing you're repeating. I agree.
Yep, I agree. Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree. Which I mean I like both games, but and in terms of the slowdown, because Wise World said people asked for a slowdown, can't complain. In terms of the slowdown, people said slow it down if you can put out better, more impactful updates, which we were asking for that before Swedish Christmas. You know what? You know the Swedes have Christmas in July, so they slowed it down, but it wasn't more impactful updates. So I feel like I can complain about that.
Yeah, they also slowed it down, and although Viper Commandos was pretty, all of the gear was terrible except for the like. I mean, the armor didn't even function on release. So can we even say that we got better quality with that bond after waiting 2 months?
No.
Like the weapons were bad, the armor didn't work, and all we got was a booster, and we waited 2 months for that bond to come out.
I always try to tell
Yeah.
people it's mainly about the packaging, because the packaging of Viper Commandos was really good. You got to admit that.
Yeah, the drip was immaculate. It looked good. It was the best looking warbond, and everything was actually like in theme for once. But I don't think that just making it pretty was enough to double up on the wait time, you know? And I think Viper Commandos would have been a cataclysmic failure if it wasn't accompanied by the only good patch in the game's history. I'm pretty sure whenever we met up on the podcast, we were all just talking about the patch. None of us were talking about the war bond. We were talking about the patch that came with the war bond. We couldn't care less about Viper Commandos.
I
didn't matter, just the patch.
I will say I was hyping the throwing knife to Pipz, and he was like, "Nope." Pipz, you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Tobias,
the only thing that brings me any joy with those knives is now just a bug where the enemy doesn't react at all as long as you're not the host. When you throw the knives at things, they don't react like they're being hit by anything as long as you're not the host. And that's the only cool thing about the knives.
I feel like I might have noticed that too. I was using them. I was using them because we were playing randomizer last time we were on. Tobias with the 5 says, "I'd rather grind for XP on Space Marines than War Bonds, or you just buy War Bonds and you spent more than Space Marine 2 and can't progress after 50." I do like the progression in Space Marines.
Yeah, it's great.
I haven't tried.
Especially if you like PvP, Thicc.
I haven't tried PvP at all yet.
Dude, it's we almost played all night the other day.
Tobias, thank you for the 5 as well.
But then we couldn't play because of the servers.
Yeah. They did server maintenance this morning, so we actually have to try that before we complain about that more, to be fair. But, dude, why do games always do this, man? I listen,
I don't know.
I gotta say this because I harped on this last week. I said, don't pre-order it. I know we're hyping the game and we're making you want to pre-order it, but like, just don't pre-order games, man. Don't do it. The servers always suck early access. They always do.
Workaround we found, by the way, chat, for people that are playing Space Marines, and it has worked 100% of the time. So what we do is I will start up a operation, and once I get into the operation, then I invite people, and it works every single time. So I think the biggest problem for some reason is in the hub area. So just start up a mission solo and then invite your friends, and you're going to be fine. Unfortunately, you can't do the same in PvP, but you can do that in PvE, and it will work every single time.
Mike says, all this glazing has me wanting to go to Dunkin' Donuts. I'm out later, guys. I literally just told the chat that they shouldn't have pre-ordered this game. Is that glazing? Is that glazing, guys? It's almost like we listed all the pros and cons of a game, and the cons are less than the pros. Sorry,
Mike is a little bit too emotional. And...
sorry about that, Mike.
Talking about factual information is glazing now, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
You can't say that game has a good progression system, Eravin. What the hell is wrong with you, bro?
Yeah, you can't point out the flaws in one game's progression system.
No, you gotta apologize, Eravin.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. That's my bad.
Sorry,
I definitely shouldn't have talked about how the progression system in Helldivers is non-existent.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about one of the classes in Space Marine that everybody is sleeping on. FaZe, what class are you playing?
I'm playing the Tactical Marine.
And what is the Tactical Marine's ability?
Well, the Tactical Marine looks pretty boring on face value, and some people probably would find it boring. It's got basically a debuff that it can cast every, I believe is it a minute 30? And it just basically lowers the vulnerability of all the enemies within an AoE. But you can... Are you playing it now?
Yeah, I'm playing it.
You can stack this ability to give an increase of around 200%. And as you can see here, this is me and Thicc last night playing against the Hive Tyrant on max difficulty. And I think did we kill it in a minute? A minute
and a half. Minute and a half.
Playing with him, bro. That's pure destruction.
And like there's the gun strike ability buffed to the 9s as well. Insane headshot damage, 80% increased headshot damage with the bolt pistol. And then
this is on the hardest difficulty as well.
This is bonkers. This next bit. This is a stack of Auspex scan and crack grenades.
Watch this.
The melter rifle. Watch the health bar here, chat.
Here, let me play it with the sound. Because we were freaking out. We were freaking out. We were like, dude, how did we kill him so fast?
Nuke. The soundtrack worked out with this as well, actually.
Slow down.
There's still no sign.
Yeah.
We got spawns.
There is.
I'm trying to dink him. He really likes me. Oh no, I phased him. That's really annoying. I
Fine, just don't
literally...
throw it.
Yeah, I might go down here. Hang on. Waves.
Oh. Never mind, throw him in it.
Going for it. Cracks away. Go ham. See ya.
Holy shit.
See you later.
Was that my kick? Yeah, it was not.
Oh my god.
It wasn't just my kick. So we found a pretty good strategy to EXP farm. If you get the tactical, you get some crack grenades, you get a melt-a-bomb, he disappears, man. Because the tactical's ability, what, debuffs the enemy? Or does it multiply the damage, or how does it work?
Multiplies damage.
It's like a
debuffs
plus
the enemy.
200% vuln, basically.
Yeah.
It debuffs the enemy and it buffs your damage, and there is also perks that increase the grenade damage as well, which I wasn't using there.
You weren't
But,
using that?
No, there's another 25% to get. But you can then play with, I only know about the sniper and the vanguard at the moment, who have these perks that allow the team to recharge their their ability charge through headshots, through getting executions, and you can just feed the tactical, who will just keep spamming Auspex scan, and it'll be off cooldown constantly. So you can just drop it on every single major fight, sometimes multiple times. And like, we were playing with Thicc with the melter rifle yesterday, and his AoE shots were just like clearing and cleaving massive hordes. I was playing with Pipz earlier on as well, and his sniper shots were just chunking boss health and one-shotting everything. So it feels pretty busted, if I'm honest. I wouldn't be surprised if they tuned it down a little bit, because that was the highest difficulty, and it just trivialized the boss completely.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to point out is we were timing it so he would use his ability immediately for the first phase so we could damage it. We were damaging it so fast that we're like, okay, stop damaging it so we can let his ability cool down for the second phase.
Yeah.
So
slow down.
the first phase we're not using grenades, and then the second phase we use the grenades for the second phase because the second phase is more annoying because he does those waves.
Yeah.
But yeah,
crazy.
so
Can
Well, the thing is, it's quite a boring looking class on face value. The merits of it are, and if anyone's thinking about playing the tactical, one thing I will say, other than being incredibly useful to your teammates and maximizing DPS, you can unlock pretty much most of the primary weapons on that class fully. So if you clear it up and then you decide that you want to go play another class, the chances are you'll have unlocked some of the weapons to max anyway. So it's a nice starting point for some people.
Worst with the 20 says, or well, first of all, FaZe will be posting his tactical build guide. Tomorrow? You're editing the video right now. So anybody who's playing tactical, anybody playing tactical, or anybody looking to get that build, FaZe's YouTube is in the pinned comment and the description. That video will come out soon, so go subscribe. Worst with the 20 says, to be clear, my opinion, obviously, but can you point out anything that is different to the last 20 years? I love games and I appreciate those that make them, but nah, nothing here. Only lore and button tapping well done. It also has great graphics, sound, and okay feel on controller. In the last 20 years, I don't know if I have a good opinion on that. Go ahead,
go ahead.
Pipz.
Okay. Well, I don't mean to be like, obviously we all have our opinions. I understand what he's saying. And in terms of like, for example, what new did it bring to the gaming space? For example, the way Helldivers 2 did, I would agree with that point. I think that Helldivers 2 out of the box was more kind of like, holy shit, we haven't played anything like this in a while in terms of genres, right? Like there wasn't really anything on the market that felt the same. That point is very valid. I feel like when it comes to Space Marine 2, it's more for the people that play different kinds of games, right? Like, for example, even if it's the First Descent or Destiny 2, and I have 12,000 hours in Destiny 2, but it's overall, there are similarities in many ways, and of course, there's huge differences. But at the same time, to say that it's a button mashing or tapping, that means that you simply haven't really upgraded your characters to the point that you understand the mechanical side of it, where you understand that every move and every decision you make has a consequence. So I think that worst, if you give it a chance and like go to the max level, make a fun build that you enjoy, I guarantee you're gonna have a lot of fun in the game. And now, when it comes to what it offers, it is one of the rare games that is a live service game. A lot of people really skip this part, that has both PvE and good PvP. That is a huge thing for many people. Like, everybody I know is excited for the game. I have a bunch of friends that only play PvP. See what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't skip that part that it also has PvP, because there's a big community that enjoys playing it. Now, it's still just run and tap, but that's okay if you're into it. Okay.
So what I'll say is, in terms of what has it innovated, I don't think it's specifically innovated anything. And I think that's kind of the point, because a lot of people rightfully compare the game to Gears of War. And I think it's giving a lot of people that feeling that the good old games used to give us. And I think that's why a lot of people like it. And that's why I like it too, because it's a really good melee system with the parrying, the dodges, and the gun strikes. And then you also do have actual guns. So like one game, for example, I don't know if a lot of people have heard of this. I brought it up a couple times, but Godfall was a looter slasher. Pipz, did you play Godfall?
I played it when it first came out, yeah.
I liked it, but it definitely fell off really fast.
Yeah, I did.
Got
Yeah,
content, but it was fun.
But I liked the melee system. But this game has a really good melee system. It's also got guns, and I feel like it's more so supposed to just reinforce the good old games. And I think that's why people like it. And that's actually why I like their selling model. Like, it's not a free-to-play game. It's a $60 game, which is the classic price for games. And then it's got DLC coming out, essentially. Like, I just think it's the classic selling model. Like, I don't want any more, like, I'll probably play another live service game if it comes out, but I don't know. I feel like this is more so not necessarily supposed to be innovative, and it's supposed to bring back the old style and show that it's still viable.
Eravin, what do you think about it?
It's nostalgic. The game's nostalgic.
Yeah,
nostalgic. What it feels like.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the classic, $60 price tag, supported for a year for free kind of game that you used to get like 10 years ago, very commonly. And when you play through Space Marine 2, not every game needs to invent a new wheel. Most games nowadays are not true innovation in the market. The majority of games are taking concepts of other games and then combining them together into new ways and new experiences. Space Marines 2 is an example of this, because if you play through the game, you're seeing elements that you've seen everywhere. You've seen these elements in a whole bunch of different places. People compare the game to Gears of War. They compare it to Left 4 Dead. They compare it to Back 4 Blood. They compare it to like other third. Obviously, they compare it to Helldivers for some reason, although I think that's the furthest out of the bunch. And that's because there are elements of those games being pulled together in a new, innovative way for a new experience and the same audience as well from those games. Because why would you take the risk? Think about it like this. You're making a game. You can take the risk on making something completely new and innovative that the world has never seen before. Or you could take what works from other games, combine them, and make an experience that feels new to people, but works and people already like.
Yeah.
You're gonna do the second thing like 9 out of 10 times. Every once in a while we do get true innovation and it absolutely pops. Like, everyone remembers like the week Lethal Company popped. That was just a little indie game and everybody was playing that game because it was like this new innovative idea. It was this thing we had never seen before. PUBG, exactly. Huge innovator.
Yeah.
Right? And those games didn't have a lot of budget and they didn't have a lot to risk. So this IP, this is a AAA release, this is a $60 game. They have everything to risk. Of course, they're not the big innovator in the market.
I don't think necessarily the game needed it, right? It's also a game for the fans, and once again, I feel like you can't. A lot of people try to ignore this fact, but it happened in D2 community as well. Well, it's like, oh, it's not a PvP game, it's a PvE game. you can say that, but when you have like a 35% a community that plays PvP, how can you say it's also not a PvP game, right? Like you had like 200,000 people playing, and out of that 80,000 back in the day, or even higher than that actually, were playing PvP, and you can't really say it's not a PvP game. So to have a PvP in a game will always be also good for longevity of the game, because when I'm gonna upgrade all the classes and I'm chilling in PvE and waiting for the horde mode to drop and all that kind of stuff and the new items, I'm just gonna chill in PvP with my friends. But that's one thing that, you know, some people just don't like to play PvP, right? And that's also okay. But at the end of the day, the truth about all of this is, guys, you can play different games and have fun. It doesn't have to be like this is the one and no other game. But it's also fair to say it's not my thing. That's also fine. Just play the game that you want.
I think it's because some people, and I've done this before. I used to do this when I was younger, and as I've grown up, I've stopped. I think some people tie their identity to the game they play, and they take the kind of criticism personally as opposed to
I agree.
objectively.
Yeah.
And like I used to do this with MMOs. I used to be really passionate about which MMO was better than which, and if I was playing that MMO and you said something against it, you were attacking. And I feel like just listening to you both talk, then I was just thinking about that and how sometimes I think that's the problem, that we're all gamers. We all like playing games. We all want to have fun, but it doesn't need to turn into a my game's gonna kill yours, or your game sucks because, and my game's this. And like you mentioned innovation, Eravin. As you were talking about, I was listening to you and I was thinking you were describing Once Human. Like Once Humans just bashed a load of stuff together that is all from different like blatant takes from other games, game systems mashed together.
I think the devs said that too, didn't they?
Say again.
I think the devs of Once Human also said that too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Have they openly said that they take inspiration from Remnant? Because that's like the only game I could see whenever I was watching Once Human.
I played Once Human. It was actually fun, but I mean, the whole reset server thing. And like to go back to the topic, instead of talking about this, and this will be a great transition, like this kills that and all that kind of garbage, why don't we talk about the good things? For example, what Helldivers 2 can clearly take from Space Marine 2 to make the game feel better. Yes, like audio cues, the visual cues, all that kind of stuff. And the fact that even though you're a Space Marine in in a Space Marine 2, and the difficulty, when you up the difficulty, you can still get absolutely destroyed, but at the same time, you can annihilate the enemy. So those two things can happen at the same time, and you're not necessarily going to feel overpowered, because there's always going to be the risk of, holy shit, we're going to get destroyed. And I think those things, if they take those things and move it into Helldivers 2, like the audio cues, even for the bugs, man, now that I think about it, right? What do you guys think about it? Like something's jumping at you, like the hunter's coming at you from the other side, you don't see it. Like you see a flash on your left screen or a sound, you know what I mean? I think that would be really cool.
I'm trying to find a clip in my B-roll. Can I just say, in this game, like one of the most satisfying things is when one of the little dudes jumps at you from off screen. You get an audio cue and you get a blue parry indicator from your back.
Yeah,
and you can literally just parry it.
Clips because I want to play.
And it's cinematic as well.
Yeah, like you can literally parry it from behind you. So like, I don't know. I feel like this, except when they do it off screen, you get that blue indicator from behind you, and you get the audio
that would
cue.
be insane. Yeah,
and like with that enemy, that's just a basic enemy. But like, I just waited for him to attack me, and then I parried. And that's just a very basic enemy, obviously. But it's like it's like on some of the bigger enemies, it's better to do that as well. Also, with some of the elites, they have double slashes. So you'll have to parry twice in a row before you get that gun strike. Like this little enemy here, I just let him attack me, and then I just sliced him with a parry. And then there's a lot of attacks you can parry that you can parry every attack in this game except for the red indicators. So a lot of attacks don't have the blue indicator, and you still have to parry them, even the boss attacks. With the Hive Tyrant. So I do feel like there's a lot of stuff. Honestly, I mean, we don't need a parry in Helldivers, obviously. But just more
No.
audio cues, mainly on the bot side,
Audio
honestly.
cues for sure. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true. We need audio cues on the stealth chargers.
On both sides. On both sides. Anything that ever hits you from off screen needs to have a cue because it just doesn't feel fun because you don't have the ability to counter it. That will always be true for any fucking video game that ever comes out. If you're fighting something, you want to have the chance to avoid something that is coming at you. And I feel like, especially in a game like Helldivers, where you're getting so overwhelmed with everything, that just has to happen. And especially on the bot side, yeah.
In terms of an indicator on the bot side, it would just be very similar to the cannon turret. Like, you don't need an indicator like a bar in Helldivers, but like the freaking command bunker turrets should be a little more visible, in my opinion, or like the rocket striders maybe should like let off some very visible steam before they shoot their rocket. Like, I don't know. There's definitely a lot of stuff in terms of visual and audio animations that the game just doesn't have. Which I feel like a lot of that was in Helldivers 1. Like, you would know when an enemy was coming to attack you in Helldivers 1.
Yeah.
For the sake of just saying something that I did notably find better about Helldivers 2, I didn't realize it until I started playing Space Marine 2, but there are some sequences where you get some really big explosions in Space Marine 2, because, I mean, most of the missions just come down to blowing something up, right?
Yeah.
And the weight of those explosions, I have to say, is just completely lost on me now that I've played Helldivers 2, because the explosions,
Yeah.
the
That's
bombardment,
because
the nukes are all so satisfying in Helldivers 2 that it's just made me completely numb to this game's attempt to like match that. And I'll watch a nuke go off and I'll be there like scoring it in my head, like, yeah, that was a pretty good explosion. I mean, I've seen bigger, you know.
Yeah,
I've seen bigger.
And also, you can cause those explosions on your
yeah,
own.
you
in
can
Helldivers.
yeah, you can throw your own
yeah,
500s.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
demolition in Helldivers 2 definitely was like
Incredible.
a lot more exciting.
What
the
else?
lighting of the 500 kg, bro, like when it
Yeah,
drops,
yeah.
the lighting is so beautiful. Oh, speaking
Yeah.
of lighting, bro, the flame, do you have the flamethrower clip in this game? Filet, can we send that over? Holy
Send it to me.
shit. Please, I need to find that.
Wait, why? I don't like the
Send it to
flamethrower in this
Arrowhead.
game.
Yeah, no, I know, but like you have it in the campaign, right? And the
Yeah.
animation was so beautiful on the flamethrower. Instead of like
You think so?
shooting JPEGs. Yeah, it was beautiful, bro. It was short, but the fire itself, the animation was beautiful. Compared to
enough.
Helldivers 2?
Nah, well, the new flamethrower in
The
best.
the new one.
Listen. The best flamethrower in gaming is the original Helldivers flamethrower. No competition. I don't
You
think
mean
the
Helldivers
devs.
1?
No, Helldivers 2. The first
Yeah,
before they
yeah,
nerfed it.
the animation was beautiful, bro.
Yeah, I don't think they realized what they lost when they nerfed that.
Yeah, the animation was incredible. It was so good. Like it looked so good in Helldivers. I don't know why they did that.
Isaac, I don't know why you're so triggered in the chat. People have opinions both ways. Like we're chilling, bro. We're chilling talking about both games. That's why the stream is what it is. That's why the title and the thumbnail is what it is, because this is the biggest talking point in the Helldivers community the past like 2 weeks. Okay, people, this is a heated topic.
Yeah, well, yeah, people get really, really emotional about this stuff, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, all right, let's transition into some live or dive. You guys ready for this? This is everybody's favorite segment.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm good at this.
Everybody's
do
favorite
it.
segment. Let's run it. Oh, yeah. So anybody new to the stream, this is live or dive. I'm going to play a clip, and you're going to have to guess how they lived or how they dived. Okay? And we've also got a Space Marine clip in here today. All right, let's run it. Now, this is Silly. You guys all know Silly. Blurry PlayStation clip. All right, so how does Silly die on this rocket defense bot mission? Is it a barrager tank? Is it gonna be the new automaton flying unit? A regular scout strider somehow, and he's not on the highest difficulty, by the way, or impact? Yo, Worst with the 10 gifted. Dude, if you guys just got a gifted from Worst, be sure to thank him.
Baby.
Hamburger's back. Campbell's is back. Make sure you spam some new W7 emotes.
Huge dub.
Worse, that one's inspired by you, by the way.
And big PP.
All right, so phase. How do they live or dive? Well, I guess these are all die options. So they're dying.
I haven't seen Silly live once. So
What do you mean? No, Silly is the one who lives the most. He wears he wears Democracy Protects.
Same thing. Yeah. Okay. My bad.
But by the way,
Like,
worse.
he always dies in the craziest ways, though.
But by the way, worse. No worries, I got you. I know how you feel. We talked about this last stream I did. But we're gonna run some games. And then because the combat system in Space Marine's like really in depth, and there's definitely a learning curve on the higher difficulties before you can have more fun with it.
Worst, I was claiming that my keyboard was broken on the first day I was playing Space Marine.
Yeah, I remember that face.
I was on stream going, my keyboard's broken. It's my mouse, man. I'm getting input lag. I was just
Yeah, I
trash.
remember that. Yeah.
There's some build things too, like with the melee weapons, you have to pick a fencing option to really get a good parry window.
Yeah.
Like
Fencing made a huge difference.
Yeah, the other ones are trash. I don't know why. I've
Yeah.
not upgraded one weapon. Don't worry, we'll get you some upgrades. We will get you some
So
upgrades.
I don't think this clip would be here if it was as boring an answer as Barrage or Tank.
Okay.
I don't believe regular Scout Striders can spawn on 8 anymore.
Oh, that knowledge, man.
New Automaton Flying Unit sounds like something you would say, and it would be like something just flies in from off screen, but this isn't the bug, so I feel like that's a lot less likely. I'm just gonna say Impact because that's probably the majority of high difficulty deaths right now.
Honestly, Eravin's my favorite guest when we do this segment. Can I just say that? Tobias with the $2 got a free membership from Worst. Love you, bro. Worst, I appreciate it. Tobias, I fucking appreciate it as well. Thank you. All right, phase Pipz.
That level of reduction that just
I don't know,
occurred.
like, yeah. Go ahead.
It's Impact. It's Impact.
Yeah, like, what the fuck, Eravin?
Pipz.
Like, you ruined it.
Just let me go last. Let me go last from now on.
Like, yes, I agree with them. How can you say anything else, bro?
It's a game show, Eravin. It's supposed to be fun.
Listen,
not methodical.
if you guys are just gonna sheep,
Stream.
if you guys are just gonna sheep to Eravin's
No,
breakdowns,
I'm saying two. I ain't no pussy.
I was gonna say, I'll make Eravin guess last.
No, bro. I'm challenging Eravin.
Okay.
We look stupid.
See, now it's spicy. We got
Yeah,
Eravin. We got
I'm
the
going for
Eravin
two.
squad, and we got the one muscle man on his own challenging Eravin. Let's see what happens.
Let's go. Eravin, you better lose this, bro. I swear.
Yeah, sorry. New automaton flying unit.
Wait, what?
Go.
Oh, you got,
Shall we watch
okay,
it back?
He got dropped on by okay. Yeah, they dropped the factory strider on him.
They dropped a factory strider on him. All right, next
I
clip.
mean, I don't feel bad about that because it does say killed by impact.
All right, fine. Sure. You got that. So we have a guy going for the mech. All right.
Okay.
Does he make it home safe? Who gets in a mech here gets stepped on? Or the mech sent back to the Super Destroyer? Or they make it back to the Pelican but then die to a stalker? What are we thinking,
They make it
boys?
back to the Pelican, then die to a stalker?
Pipz always picks the one he wants to happen.
Yeah, bro, that sounds too good, bro. I want that to happen. Imagine him having all this hope while he got out of a fucking situation like this, and then he gets crushed. Yeah, I'm going for 4. I just can't. Yes, 4.
All right, FaZe. Eravin, you're going
Back
last.
sent back to the Super
Yeah, that's okay.
Destroyer.
That's okay.
All right, Eravin, give us the big brain.
All
I'm
right.
just gonna go get a drink. Be right
so-
back.
Turning to see this, I don't think there's any reality anyone makes it home safe from this.
Yeah, for sure. For
On
sure.
the real, like, it really should just be 2. But I feel like there is a impaler off screen that's gonna make it 3, and that'll
Okay.
be really funny.
All right, let's see what happens.
Please stalker kill him. That would be so fun. Okay, he gets.
The rocket stagger.
Oh, my boy is locked in. Oh, there was an impaler to his right. I'm pretty sure I saw an impaler.
Is there?
No? No. I'm tripping. Come on.
Bro, he's just spamming.
Send him.
Get out.
Send him.
Get out. Yes. Stalker, please.
Makes it home safe. Makes it home
Damn it,
safe.
bro.
Wild.
It was bait. The clip was bait. Sometimes they live, guys. Sometimes they live. All right. Space Marine 2 edition. Let's see what happens. All right, this one comes from Labyrinth. He's got the Thicc Marine drip, by the way.
Yeah, I thought it was you for a second.
Big horde of enemies coming up. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
All right.
Okay.
Is this the most unbelievable clutch of all time? Just instantly dies when it unpauses, missed parry, or spore mines.
It's definitely 2 or 3, probably. I don't think
I
he
want it
gets
to
out
be
of this.
one. I really
You don't
can
think
if
Lab
he-
can get out of this?
If he hits like his melee here, he will get all of that HP back. 100%.
And if he kills the warrior, it'll delete all of them.
Yeah, but he needs to fucking get to that warrior and kill him first. Also, if he would, what he could do, and this is a cool tip actually, if you kind of roll to that thing where you have to press the button, it makes you unkillable while you're in the animation, and then you can roll away. You will take damage, but you can't be killed while you're doing any kind of animation, like pressing something or shit like that. I think it's gonna be probably 3. No,
What-
wait. I
what-
think, are you opening the door?
Well, Pipz,
Oh, that's
I'd
opening
like to...
the door.
No,
One.
no. I'd like to point out Lab is completely on his own. So it's either a clutch or die.
Oh shit! On his own.
He's
Why are you
completely on his
standing
own.
there for, bro?
No.
You're
That's
standing
just
right
my
there.
that's just my character bar.
Yeah, he's not there.
Yeah, I'm not there.
Both his teammates are up on the lip.
Okay, what do you
of the
think,
deck.
Ervin? Go. I'm saying.
I'm going last.
Okay, I'm going.
Well, Pipz just
I'm
did the
going
big brain
1.
breakdown. I'm not
going,
gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm going 1. I'm going 1 because I love Lab. I like the guy. I'm going 1.
Eravin, you go.
This clip is a minute longer, so it's definitely
No, there's
two.
more clips after this.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This isn't the last clip.
Prevails, Eravin.
This
I love
isn't
it.
the
I love
last
it
clip.
So much,
That
man. I
does
love
change
it.
things.
This is not the
Um,
last clip.
I think it's gonna look like a clutch, and then he misses a parry and dies.
Okay, Phase.
One, I really want Lab to get
Yeah,
that
come on,
warrior,
Lab.
smash
I also
its head
believe in Lab.
and just watch them go and die. That'd
I-
be sick.
I also believe in Lab. Oh yeah, can we talk about how in Space Marines, if you kill the big dude, it kills a lot of the little dudes around him?
Yeah.
Does it damage them?
Synaptic
Or...
link.
That's
The
like the
synaptic
biggest.
link.
It's the biggest reason why I like Sniper is you still clear the horde
Exactly,
if
yeah.
you just jump.
Do you
them.
know why? Do you know why?
The lore,
hide mind.
lore
The
reasons.
lore, the seniors in the hive have synaptic links to the little ones, so the one above controls the one below, and you have it in
like-
those situations. That's the lord of them all, sort of thing. And when you smash its brain, and the synaptic link goes, and they just disintegrate.
All right,
Sick.
let's see.
I love Warhammer 40k.
Damn, this is nuts. Fight, Lab.
Yes.
Lab, Space Marine. Come on.
And I love how the parry. I love how the parry pushes them all back.
Bro, this is fucking nuts. Watch. My man is fighting right now, bro.
Get that warrior.
Ugh.
Oh no, the ranged.
Oh,
There it
Miss
is.
parry.
Miss parry.
man, so close.
Listen. Lab is like what, level 5 on that character now? He had to play a different character because Zinni's a bulwark one trick and he wouldn't let Lab play his main. But I had to include that clip, bro, because that was insane.
No.
I wish he clutched it.
Dope.
I wish he clutched it. He was him. He was him. He lasted so long.
Close. It was close.
Yeah, that was so close. All right. Back to Helldivers.
Move, brother, move. Oh my god, it's coming.
I froze frame
Yeah.
it on this frame on purpose. All right.
This is the
He's
ass
about to
of
go.
the
It's
strategy.
He's about to get melted by his own stratagem, by his
So-
own laser dog.
Is he not running fast enough? Impaler, Stalker, or Environment?
Oh, really?
Yep.
I want Stalker, man.
Just a simple one. Pipz, why do you like
Stalker.
Stalker so much?
Because it's funny when they kill people. It's so funny to me. Because you don't have a chance. They can like attack you and go for it. I go 1. Sorry,
Eravin, the
3.
big, you got a big brain on this one? It's pretty simple. This is just a 1 in 4 shot.
Is it me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think that was the light armor, so can definitely swerve this. I think it's death by environment.
Okay, phase. We got 1 for
Not running
Stalker, 1
fast.
for Environment.
Not running fast enough.
Not running fast enough. All right, let's
Just gets
see.
cleaned out by a drifting charger.
All right, everything but Impaler was guessed. Chat, what do you think? What do you guys think? When in doubt, Environment. All right, let's see. It indeed was Environment.
No?
Bro, what are these freaking things?
You kind
But-
of, yeah, they're really poorly.
Somebody please
Like,
tell me what those things
shown.
are, man.
The deadly bush.
Someone please tell me, dude. Why are those on the swap maps, bro?
Fire flowers, evil sponge.
I had
methane
never even
vent.
seen that before.
Wait, you never seen that on the swamp maps?
I've never been to that map. My game
Yeah,
lags too much.
I think they optimized it a bit. Have you tried going back recently?
Nope.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Some of these responses are insane.
Yeah, they are. All right. So on to some of the Helldivers news. All we got in terms of Helldivers is the 60-day timeline progress update, but I haven't talked about this with, I think, anyone here. So basically, what did they tell us? They told us barely anything that's in the next patch. If anything, Pilestet leaked a lot more stuff coming in the next patch. But Helldivers finally delivered the blog post on September 5th. It's been a couple weeks since we were committed to our 60-day plan, and our team has been hard at work refining gameplay, experience, addressing concerns, yada yada, from weapon balancing and enemy behavior. Enemy behavior stood out to me. To the overall game mechanics, we are fully committed to ensuring Helldivers 2 meets the high standards we all expect. And this stood out to me as well. We see the Steam reviews, and we hear you loud and clear. Yeah, they better. They're excited to share more details, which will include significant changes aimed at refining and improving the experience. This includes armor penetration. We will get back to this. Anti-tank weapons and enemy armor and health values. As a key part of the rework, we have done an initial balancing pass on over 30 weapons and stratagems. So 30 different weapon and stratagem, hopefully all buffs, right?
Or what does it mean? Balancing pass.
It means
What-
30
what-
weapons and stratagems are balanced in the next update. And then they say we are overhauling a number of different enemies to make them feel more rewarding to kill when you use the proper tools to handle them, but ensure they still feel formidable. Enemy bots, including Hulks, will have lower armor, and the number of rockets fired by Devastators and gunships will be limited, making combat more balanced. The armor values of particularly tough bugs like Chargers, Impalers, and Bile Titans will also be reduced. One thing Pilestat said on Reddit was Berserkers will be easier to kill, but their chainsaws will be more dangerous. So that's why the enemy behavior really stood out to me. Somewhere up here. And then they say weapons such as the autocannon, heavy machine gun, and anti-material rifle will be more effective, providing greater loadout versatility. We are also working towards improvements for the flamethrower weapons. And then they are taking this opportunity to consider new player fantasies and design goals for these weapons and stratagems based on the feedback we received and the trends we're observing during gameplay. And then this will go live September 17th. All right, so first off, we are reworking armor penetration. So Eravin has done the big brain breakdowns on armor penetration. You want to ramble about armor penetration and how it works and the penalty you get for matching armor?
Oh, the whole thing just comes together in a really nonsensical way at the end of the day. It's ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. It's like if your armor penetration is higher than the armor value of the enemy, you deal full damage. If you match, you deal 50% damage. But if you hit it at odd angles, you'll also ricochet anyway. If you shoot a target with higher armor than your weapon, you deal no damage. That part's simple. That part makes sense. I think that part should stay exactly the same. But then you add in durability. And these parts within the armor also have a durability percentage that just guts the damage of almost every single weapon in the game that isn't starting with the letter A and ending with a word that starts with C. But the damage just gets gutted on over half the weapons in the game. And then you have these other weapons where, oh, durability doesn't really affect them because they deal explosive damage. Well, guess what? There's also hidden tag system in play where a hidden tag on the enemy will just make that part of the body completely immune to explosions because it's a band-aid fix where they don't want the explosive weapons completely annihilating their enemies. So they just have to make certain parts completely immune.
I don't think we're seeing explosion immunity removed anytime soon.
No, unfortunately not. But that's a whole nother problem.
Yeah, let's not get into that.
That comes into the damage system.
So armor penetration, I've explained this on stream as well, and Eravin has great damage breakdowns on the game. So armor penetration, the gist of this change is anytime you match armor, there's a 50% penalty. So if you have a light armor weapon and you're shooting it at a light armored target, like a Brood Commander, for example, or an Alpha Commander, which are really spongy, that's why your light armored weapons, such as the Cookout, don't feel too great for shooting it. Another reason the Cookout doesn't feel great at shooting the Alpha Commander is because the fire damage burns the body, but you're shooting the head. So that's one reason that weapon doesn't feel good against it. Now, I don't know what they mean in terms of reworking. I don't know if they're going to remove that penalty. I was theorizing maybe they'll let you deal damage. So like maybe a light penetrating weapon can now damage medium pen, but with that penalty, and then you can get the full damage if you're matching.
That would make more sense, but if they were going with that route, it'd be a little bit confusing how they're also lowering the armor of everything.
True, but maybe it's, I don't know. Anyways, we're like, best case scenario, they just nerf that penalty. So like maybe it goes from like a 50% penalty to like 80% or a 20% penalty instead. So if they nerf that penalty at all, and Pipz, this one's for you. If they nerf that penalty at all, this is a buff to every single weapon and stratagem in the game. Every single one across the board. Even the cluster bomb, for example, which is medium pen. It's armor pen 3. It's like the same as a medium pen primary. This also suffers that armor penalty when it's damaging medium armor. So if they nerf this armor penalty at all, literally cluster bombs will kill things easier. So this literally would affect every single weapon and stratagem in the game.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking on this one?
I have to test it, bro. Like it's a lot of these things are very vague to me. We are reworking armor penetration. Okay. What does that mean? How are we reworking it? What is the rework gonna be? I'm just realistically trying to look at it, right? Like from the perspective of I don't know what it's gonna be. Like an example would be sometimes for example, they took the 110s, they buffed it, but they nerfed it. So what kind of rework is it gonna be? Are you gonna change the way, for example, that it gets penetrated easier by some weapons, but then the armor, let's say somehow the HP gets increased, so the armor you need to hit it more times anyway. So it's gonna depend. You know what I mean? Like on paper, a lot of these things sound good. Some of them sound bad. And then you play and you're like, oh, holy shit, this is actually good. I thought it would be bad. And it could be the other way around. And also, this is a very vague blog post in general. There's nothing like, pinpointed. It's just we're gonna do this, gonna do that. No mention of numbers, no mention of nothing. Just a reworking. So I'll probably wait and see, and then hopefully it's what you're saying. Hopefully it makes some tools feel better and more fun. But once again, I think it's gonna take testing to figure it out.
So one reason I highlight this is because when I brought up the cookout, a couple of people in the chat said durable damage, but the armor penalty is, I don't know, Eravin, is it worse or better than durable damage?
So what's really bad about the armor penalty on the cookout in particular is each of your pellets does 3 damage.
Oh, it rounds
then
down. Oh, God.
It's going to round down.
So the
from
armor pen is worse.
1.5. So because you're meeting armor level, because you're hitting that hive guard in the head, your durable damage per pellet is 1.
Yeah.
Not 2.
So
not
a lot
3,
of
1.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So a lot of
That's what
people
I
talk
mean.
about durable damage on the cookout versus alpha commanders, but that's never been the issue. The issue has, well, it is an issue, but the
Only
issue
part, yeah.
has mainly been the armor pen penalty. Especially if I didn't even know it rounded down. That just made it worse.
Oh yeah, all the shotguns round down instantly. Did you know that you lose 1 damage on every pellet of your shotgun because of
So-
the rounding and damage fall off?
So you need to dive when you shoot shotguns to get that back.
Yeah, you got to move forward while shooting a shotgun. Oh, also, you're going to definitely lose 1 damage if you're backing up while firing your shotgun.
Yeah.
Why? Don't know.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though, Eravin. That's what I mean. A lot of these things, like reading like this, it's cool, but then those hidden things, like this rounds down and that rounds to the right side and left side, and what the fuck is happening? Like that's why when they do it, I'm very excited for the changes, bro. I honestly cannot wait. Once it happens, I'm gonna jump in there, and we're gonna check it all live for sure. As we usually do, we're gonna test everything, and then we can give it a good opinion
Just
about it, I guess.
laughing. I'm just laughing at the chat. All the realism comments off the back of Eravin talking about the
Yeah.
shotgun pellets and the moving to metal. It's so crazy, isn't it? When it's like they pull the realism card whenever it suits them. But then
Yeah.
there's things like you need to dive to make your weapon do more damage. Can you imagine if that happened in real life? If I dive with a rocket launcher, it'll blow a tank up. If I don't, it'll just bounce off.
Yeah,
Like,
500
I don't
kg dropping 2 meters away, dive. You're good.
know.
You'll definitely survive.
I also
they've
wonder.
said that they want movie realism, which is why you drop nearly fresh magazines and throw them on the floor instead of stowing them.
Yeah. It didn't Pile Titan say something about they were talking about how the mags would fit in their pockets if they were half full. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure you picked it up, Thicc, but it was like movie realism and putting bullets in pockets and like just stuff you wouldn't think about in a video game at all.
I also wonder
having-
if they're gonna change the ricochets, because I'm not exactly sure how the ricochet system works. I'm pretty sure if you're matching armor and you're at a bad angle, you can ricochet. And if you're
Yep.
overpenning, do you still ricochet? I think you can, even on an overpen.
No, if you're overpenning, you don't ricochet. And I think I know what you're talking about.
I have
Are you referring
seen-
to like the bottom of Bile Titans?
I don't, maybe.
Because that has like a lot of overlapping hitboxes, and it's not so much that you're hitting a bad angle, you're actually just like hitting a different hitbox because they're all overlapped with each other
Grab a drink.
and not consistent.
Well, 2 things. I've seen a clip of a rail cannon strike ricochet off a Bile Titan. That's number 1.
What? That's not supposed to happen.
Have you not seen that? I'll pull it up right now.
Yeah, that's.
I've
that's,
also seen.
probably a bug.
Well, you say that, but I've also seen an orbital precision strike ricochet off of a cannon turret.
Because the way the ricochet system works is every ballistic in Helldivers 2 not only has its base armor pen value, but it also has
Ready for this?
a lower armor pen value at bad angle.
Ready for this, Pipz?
All right,
Yeah,
let's
what
see
is it?
It's you ready? That is a rail cannon
Oh, I've
strike.
seen the ricochet, yes.
That is a rail cannon strike.
Ricochet.
There's the blue illuminate beam.
Yeah, it ricocheted.
And
Are they Is it lag? Did it hit the tree?
Who knows? Who knows?
I feel like it hit the tree.
Well, there's also the one that was on Reddit. I can't pull that one up so fast, but that one got like 1 million upvotes, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen it. The orbital precision strike ricocheting off a cannon turret. I've also had an orbital precision strike ricochet off a shrieker nest in one of my games, but I feel like that was forever ago.
Oh my god.
So yeah, there's the blue beamed illuminates chat. Remember early on, everyone was like, it's the illuminate, it's the illuminate. No, it's ricochets. Unfortunate.
No squids.
So when it comes to armor penetration, there's two things I can think, which is the armor pen penalty for matching armor or the ricochets. Either of which are changed will be great.
I have the answer.
What?
I just looked it up, and at a bad angle, yeah, at an extreme angle, it can ricochet. It can ricochet on an extreme angle on any armor. It doesn't even matter what it is.
Me personally, in terms of realism and movie realism, I feel that a rail cannon strike, which has what, an armor pen of like 9? Close enough, right? 8?
Heavy. It's labeled as heavy 6, so yeah, that's 10.
10. Okay, so so I was being generous. It has an armor pen of 10. I don't think that should be able to ricochet. I think it should just overpen everything ever.
Yeah. I actually have never seen this before. Its penetration is listed as 9 on a slight angle, 8 on a large angle, and 0
What?
pen on an extreme angle.
Eric in the chat says this makes me physically angry.
I don't
I was already
understand it,
physically
Eric.
angry about the thermite. This is worse.
Oh
My brain
god.
doesn't function like this.
All right.
Oh god.
Should we move on? We just enraged the whole chat. Should we just
Oh,
move
this
on?
Is the Why do you have to keep ruining my week? Like last time, it was like, what if impact is explosive damage, Eravin?
Is impact damage explosive?
I still don't know. I'm on vacation.
Chat, I have this theory. Because I've been playing a lot of bots. Well, before Space Marine, I've been playing a lot of bots, and Eravin's armor video told me to wear heavy padded armor, right? And he's not wrong based on the numbers alone. But I always used to wear explosive resistance because I thought, before I watched his video, that that was the best armor. And I noticed in my heavy padded armor games, I die way more to impact damage. And so I'm wondering if impact damage is explosive damage, because a lot of other stuff in this game is explosive damage, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I would definitely say to always wear the explosive armor just because of the new rockets having 400 base damage and your Helldiver has 125 HP. So it's like, I guess I'll wear the explosive padding so I can maybe survive a rocket.
Maybe. So they're also
but yeah, I'm not
changing.
sure about the impact.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out when the patch drops. All right, so when we're done with vacation. All right, so they're also changing anti-tank weapons and enemy armor and health values. This is something I pointed out heavily, that anti-tank weapons like can't be meta if they're not one-shotting the heavies. Do I think it needs to one-shot a Bile Titan? I don't know. I've had mixed feelings either way. I don't think it needs to, but if it did, I also don't think that's a big deal. Does it need to one-shot a factory strider? Same boat. But it should definitely be one-shotting chargers in the head, all of them. It should be stripping the impaler legs. It should be one-shotting all the tanks on the bot side, all the cannon turrets. And because even if it did that on the bot side, it's still not good to bring over autocannon, because autocannon can kill all those enemies on the bot side, but it can also deal with a big pack of devastators. Like, you just have a bunch of extra ammo. Same as the AMR, to be fair. And same as the heavy machine gun. Those would all still be meta over the anti-tanks. I just think if anti-tanks one-shot cannon turrets, people would bring it, because then you could be the one dude with the anti-tanks taking out the cannon turrets on your squad. I would bring it. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. We haven't gotten any information on how they're going to change enemies. I think it set it up here. From weapon balancing, and they're changing weapon balancing and enemy behavior. So the only example we got of this from from Pile Titan was the chainsaw berserkers. He said they'll be easier to kill, but their chainsaws will be more dangerous. I'm curious to see what all they change because
There's such a big chance that pisses a lot of people off. Imagine they like one tap you.
but imagine you
something
one tap
crazy.
them.
Yeah.
Would
that's
that
what
be
that's what I mean.
would
you
that be
know?
better than what we have now?
I
I
mean,
guess.
I wish I still had the hopium in me to wish for this enemy behavior quote here to mean they're finally fixing
Audio
soft
cues.
aggro.
Oh, maybe. Elaborate on soft aggro for the chat.
Soft aggro being any time an enemy is engaged in Helldivers 2, once it has been engaged, it will soft aggro onto the nearest Helldiver and begin walking in their direction, sometimes firing off volleys in that direction. And it's a state in which they're supposed to not actually know where you are and just be moving towards last known location firing. But that's not in actuality what happens. They just move towards the nearest Helldiver and start shooting. And at the very moment a Helldiver re-enters their range for normal vision cone, even if it's behind them, even if it's from their sides, they will instantly snap on them and begin shooting if they have ever been aggroed during the match ever before. They never go back to their original patrolling state unless they completely dematerialize from the map, like someone just despawns them or they die. Those are the only two ways you get rid of them. And it's a real pain in the ass for stealth gameplay for that reason.
Yeah, that's actually one reason.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I've told Eravin this before, but I was a stealth enjoyer before I knew how stealth worked, and I ran into soft aggro so much that I was like, screw this, I'm not doing it. I'm surprised you stuck it out, Eravin.
Yeah, it just turned into playing around it like it was a game mechanic at a certain point. You stop hoping that it's going to go away and you just start dealing with it and
So
just remembering to take it into account.
Yeah. Sorry. So next, FaZe, I know you had some comments on weapons such as the autocannon, HMG, and anti-material rifle being more effective and providing greater loadout versatility. What do you think of this?
I just find it absolutely bonkers that the named weapons are the weapons that arguably are the most effective already. Like, most people's builds, not everyone's, most people's builds revolve around these things. Like, the auto cannon is absolutely unreal at the moment. The HMG, if you're happy with the way it plays, is absolutely fantastic in most situations. It baffles me that they've named those three weapons. I don't think that they're going to change everything, obviously, but of all the things to name, why name those?
I agree. Worst with the $5 says, if we're talking reality, wouldn't various enemy sizes and HP be first on the list? Would that be a better variable you can appreciate as a player? Yeah. So like with my feedback document for breakpoints, I listed massive titans and baby chargers. Are you talking about modifiers? No, that would be funny as well. I would love to watch a baby bile titan just spit on me and I just die. But it's all slow.
I'd love to see a bull-sized charger knock your teammate over just a little bull.
Don't you mean a scavenger-sized charger?
Oh, God.
Just knock your team.
It's a little pit bull-sized charger. Knocks you. It still hits you with the same exact impact, so you go flying the same way. That'd be goofy and fun.
Yeah. Thank you for the
That's
5
like
worst.
GoldenEye. The GoldenEye. Do you remember playing GoldenEye? If you completed the level quick enough, cheats that you could put on, and one of them was the guys had gigantic heads. That just reminded me of that. You get, like the tiny bile titan.
FaZe, did you say bargers and mitons?
Barges and mitons, yeah, that's what they'd be called.
I guess so. Yeah, I agree with you, FaZe. It's weird they named these weapons, but I feel like a lot of these changes will probably be more impactful to not these weapons. Like, these weapons will definitely probably be better. Well, I mean, they will be better, and they probably still will be the best, but I don't know. Don't you think if they change a lot of the other weapons to just feel better in general? Like, these are basically autocannon's the best on both fronts. HMG and anti-material rifle are better on bots, but HMG is fine for bugs. And then if
Antimatter rifle would be cool on bugs if they could get it working better. Actually,
it just needs to one tap alpha commanders, in my opinion. That's the only reason it feels
Yeah.
horrible.
Losing that breakpoint between the two difficulties is like anti-tank versus chargers all over again for that weapon.
But
Just
also,
like, oh, I lost my breakpoint. Well, not bringing this anymore.
yeah, that did suck. I think that was an oversight more than anything. But, you know, maybe the tankiness of the alpha commander head was just the oversight. Pipz, would you use an anti-material rifle to kill chargers if it did it effectively?
What are we calling effectively?
Well, they're reworking chargers so that anti-material rifle can strip the armor.
Yes, but how many shots? Like, are we thinking?
We'll say within a mag.
Within a mag.
No, never. No. I wouldn't. I'd just fucking delete it.
So you're bringing the
Why the-
autocannon next patch.
Yeah, why would I? A full mag? What is it, bro? No.
But you were using the railgun and having fun with it in the supply pack, right?
Yeah, with 2 shots. Right.
Yeah, but you have
and
faster
I don't have to
fire
aim
rate on the
down.
AMR.
Yeah, but it's also about ammo, though. I don't want to spend a whole magazine on a fucking leg. No, bro, I'm out. No.
No. But strip the leg and kill it within a mag.
No.
Still no?
Not for
Come
me.
on, Pips.
No, not for me. That would be horrible.
Chat, I'm making Pips run randomizer next patch. What's happening?
that would be fun.
And I'm gonna make him click the button until he gets AMR now.
I'm
You're gonna eat your words, Pips.
Would you use it if it took the whole mag to strip the leg and kill it? Would you use it? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would love to hear it, chat.
FaZe,
Sorry, what was the question?
would you use AMR on chargers if it just took a mag to kill one?
A whole mag
You gotta be
Within the mag.
crazy
Within a
to
mag.
use
into
that
the
shit.
into their leg, into their head, into
the
their
leg.
Let's say 5 to 7 into a weak point.
Yes,
But bro, it's also about a different stuff. Like, why would I use that if there's so many other tools that can do it so much easier? You have to, I don't know, like it doesn't make sense to me.
Pips,
can
don't
still
you?
insta-kill spewers with it and 2-shot alpha commanders with it.
I can do the same with the what's it called, railgun.
Pips,
well.
didn't you get bored playing with
Or the
flamethrower
autocannon.
all the time?
No, I really didn't.
Guys, Pips is a simple man. Okay, give him the best
Yeah.
build and the most damage, and he's locked in.
Flamethrower, give it. I don't care about anything. I was doing great. I was having a great time.
We did get one message from Shams recently in the Discord. I could maybe pull it up, but he said that when it comes to the flamethrower, a good-looking, effective, but also not broken flamethrower is not possible for them to do, which I feel like is wild.
That's
that
crazy.
is absolutely
That's
wild. What?
I think
So
what's
we-
really
What do you
crazy is
mean?
that means they're saying last patch's flamethrower was broken.
I
Yeah,
think
that's why they
I
put it in miscellaneous, right?
I think they need to give it a different ammo type and just let it go through walls and through bugs. Like, why not?
I just think what's crazy to me is the entire reason they even had to make this change is because they decided to give everyone a fire war bond that no one really asked for.
Yeah, people and the armor isn't
Besides
even
the
100%.
armor passive,
No.
yeah.
The
It's
armor is not
right,
even.
you're right.
Yeah.
It's not even what people asked for specifically with the armor because it's too low of a percentage to save you on the stim anyway.
Yeah. Worst with the $5. Thank you, Worst. W7's in the chat, please. Worst, that emote was inspired by you, by the way. Forget streaming content. Which gameplay engaged you more on launch and 1 week later?
Damn.
No BS. I don't know. Here's the thing with my streaming content as well. Like, I definitely talk about, like, I'll definitely pick a game that has more viewers for my streaming content, but I also only play games I enjoy. Like, if there's a game where I can get viewers, but I really don't enjoy it, I will quit it, which I have done before. Dude, I don't know. I just switch back and forth to games. Like, I've played so many games that have engaged me for so long. Like, Fallout and Skyrim back in the day. Black Ops 1 was amazing. The Borderlands games. I was engaged with forever because they have a lot of build diversity. I mean, and then Helldivers and Space Marine too. Even multiverses, fighting games. I like a lot of different games. And usually I just play one game at a time. What about you guys? What was your guys' most engaging game?
Aeon Online.
Never.
For me, it was
say?
Aeon Online for sure.
I interrupted you, so I keep talking over you. You speak again.
No, it's all good, Face. I was saying Aeon Online. It's an MMO, old school, like a cool MMO.
Yeah, like a WoW style one, wasn't it? It was pretty good, that, from what I remember.
Yes, it was so good, bro. When it launched, it was incredible.
Mine's WoW or Diablo 2.
Eravin?
Or Left 4 Dead 2. Or
And
Left 4 Dead 2. Sorry, or Left 4 Dead 2. That was also a cracking.
So the question is like, what game have you been most engaged with? Like besides just in general, like across your entire career playing games? Oh, that's a really tough question. Pass.
I know. I feel like that's a tough question too.
Yeah, I
these two,
I can't pick a game.
Eravin. He means these two. He wants to know about Space Marine.
Oh,
Oh.
like, do I feel more engaged playing Space Marine 2 or Helldivers 2?
Yeah.
Like from the rip, like off the rip.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, yeah, I think they asked like your first few weeks in the game, right? Like first few weeks.
First week, he said, I think.
First week, yeah.
So Space Marine hasn't even been out for a week yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have to probably say that I definitely feel more locked in and engaged right off the rip with Space Marine, because playing the co-op PvE, which is what I immediately jumped into, even on the first difficulty, my eyes have to be open. I still have to pay attention. I still have to parry, and like it's still a learning experience. If I miss a parry, we're not going to wipe, but like I still have to pay attention, and the swarm still comes in, and I still have to, be awake. But then you play Trivial on Helldivers for the first time, and it is actually a walking sim.
Yeah. For me, it's probably it's very, very close, but I'm gonna say Space Marines 2 because it has PvP, and I absolutely love PvP games. So for me, that's when something has PvP and I enjoy it, it's an automatic dub for me.
Yeah. Do you know? I'm gonna say. Do you mean just from a pure gaming standpoint?
Yeah.
That's a really tough question because I absolutely loved Helldivers when it came out. It was scratching an itch.
Yeah, it did. It was great. It was great. As I said, it was close.
Do you know? I'm gonna say Helldivers, because it wasn't just the actual gameplay that was cool about Helldivers. It was the social aspect of it. It was the feeling that whenever you joined a lobby, people were kind of
everyone fighting for something greater than themselves.
Yeah, and there was it reminded me of. I always bring. But it just reminded me of back in the day when you had guild chat and you were talking to people and there was a common ground there that everyone had. And Helldivers 2 captured something that I don't think a game's captured for a very long time. It captivated a large audience and everyone was engaged in not only the gameplay, but the kind of IP itself as well. And that for me counts for a lot with a game. I may be slightly skewed because I'm also making content for it, but it just felt like something special when it came out, and Space Marine is special, but not to that level.
For me, I can't pick. I just get locked in on different games for different reasons. I'm definitely equally locked in on Space Marine right now. Like yesterday, I was literally playing all day, over 12 hours. But I did the same. I did the same with Helldivers. Like, literally, look how much Helldivers content I've posted since launch in the last 6 months. Like at least 50, 60 videos. I think I post 10 to 12 videos a month on top of streaming all day, every day. But with Space Marine, I'm locked in as well because Space Marine scratches the melee combat itch for me. Like I do really enjoy melee games with parries, dodges. Like I really enjoy the off-screen parries and the off-screen dodges, and I really enjoyed figuring out the mechanics in this game in Space Marine because of like the contested health. I didn't know contested health was a thing until yesterday, until I had a bulwark on my team fill up my bar with contested health, and then I was like, oh, that's what that white bar is.
Yeah,
That's how I get my health back. And then I started face shoving the tyrant, because anytime he would damage me, I would just blast him and get all my health back. So like that level of gameplay unlocked for me yesterday. And same with Helldivers. Like when Helldivers came out, I was running, like my first thing I did was go to a charger. I tested Gas Strike on the charger to see if it would lower his armor like the acid planets do, and it didn't. But I was locked in. Worst dropped another 50 and said, thanks for the answers. Appreciate this a lot.
Worst. Holy shit.
Whoa.
Both are great and no one's wrong for this or that. Just a fucking game, but you all are actually the best part. Thanks for being here. Worst. Holy shit.
Legend.
You're getting some salutes on that one. You're getting some
Absolute
salutes
hero.
on that one. Dude, thank you, Worst. I appreciate all the support as well. But and to further that, Worst, I was locked in on Helldivers when it came out. Like I was figuring out how to kill a Bile Titan. I did a Bile Titan deep dive. Like any game that has complexity, I'm in. If a game's not complex, I'm out. Like that's what happened with Once Human. Like Once Human is very, very fun. It's actually a really great game. But the season change, as well as the way you unlock weapons in that game is basically timed weekly. Like if you're okay with the seasonal changes and the timed weapon unlocks and stuff, I would say go play Once Human. But for me personally, what I like to do is play multiple builds, test multiple things. Like I like to find the complexity. And they locked their complexity. They locked their complexity behind like a time gate basically for me. So that's the only reason I stopped playing that game. So like
It was a certified free to play moment.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Where we at? So yeah, they didn't really give us much in this blog post. Oh, hey, Pipz, they answered your question. What does a balancing pass entail? Our design team led by our chief creative officer, Johan Pile Titan, analyzes player feedback, internal and external playtests, gameplay data, and the original design goals for each weapon and stratagem. This process allows us to identify discrepancies such as weapons that are underperforming or overperforming and make precise adjustments. The goal is to ensure that each weapon and stratagem feels powerful, responsive, and fun to use, while also fitting into the broader gameplay ecosystem. One thing I'd like to highlight here is underperforming or overperforming. Because Clay was talking about this one day, but I think this is something that kind of sounds good, but the problem with Helldivers is a lot of stuff is underperforming. Not a lot of stuff was overperforming. It was basically all
overperforming?
Well, it was all due to bugs like railgun.
Autocannon.
You think autocannon's overperforming?
What I'll say real quick,
I don't agree with that.
What I'll say real quick in terms of Helldivers is they just need to drop the stuff with the meta. Like there should be overperforming weapons in the game. Do you know why? Because that's better for casual players. And then there should be underperforming weapons in the game. Do you know why? Because sweat lords or like nerds who play too much like me or FaZe or Eravin, obviously Pipz is the casual who just wants to play the most overpowered stuff. But the rest of us will eventually get bored with the overpowered stuff and will go equip a randomizer or a liberator penetrator and then go do a challenge run. So there should genuinely be some underperforming stuff.
Well, there will always be underperforming stuff, whether we want it or not. That's just how games go.
That too.
No matter what they do, whatever they do, however hard they try, they will never make it so that there's not underperforming and overperforming. That's just how gaming works. Apart from there's no overperforming in Helldivers 2, but like every other game in the world works that way.
Chat, imagine the Breaker, Incendiary, and Space Marine. Do you think it would be good? What do you guys think on the panel?
No ammo.
Pipz
No
spit
ammo.
out his drink.
Wouldn't be enough ammo.
Bro, that would be so bad.
Although gun strikes might get you ammo back, maybe, so you might be able to keep your.
Oh my god, the fuck.
I mean, wouldn't it be kind of broken for Minoris? Because you just hit them once and it would deal enough damage to burn them out.
No. But here's the question. Here's the question.
With the ammo economy, yeah, you'd hit 4 of them.
No. Here's the question, Eravin. Would it?
The whole block.
Would it? A Helldivers balanced Breaker Incendiary, would it?
Okay, Helldivers balanced Breaker Incendiary. I mean, yes, because if you hit hunters with even a couple pellets, they die.
You think?
So if we go with the equivalent of Minoris die if they get hit with a couple pellets,
But is it the
they would
equivalent?
die. Yeah, that's what you're saying, right? You're saying with Helldivers balance philosophy.
No. The Helldivers balanced breaker
He's saying you
incendiary,
take the weapon and directly put it in.
but put
That's
it
what he's
into
saying.
Space Marines.
In the highest difficulty. I don't think so because like you have to do so many upgrades. For example, you have to be on relic on some of the weapons, like the secondaries at least.
Well,
to
aren't
one-shot.
we talking about a relic? Aren't we talking about a relic breaker incendiary?
No. We're
Oh,
talking
shit,
about
then it would cook.
a Helldivers breaker incendiary.
I mean, obviously not, but that's like, a different game with different difficulty scaling. Helldivers doesn't gain HP from difficulty.
I know, I'm trolling. I'm trolling.
It's very silly.
All
Good
right.
question now.
End of this blog post. Oops. End of this blog post. They finally got their test servers up, which isn't actually a test server. It's just getting people to play on a different patch, basically, because there's no server in this game. It's all peer-to-peer. But they finally started doing this internally. When will they do this externally? Not yet. But yeah. Any final thoughts?
No, I think that before I go, I think that I mean, at the end of the day, we just have to wait and see. We've heard this before. I've seen this before. It's cool. I'm happy. I'm excited. I really can't wait for the 17th because I want to hope that it's going to be good. But I'm going to keep my, expectations are where they're at. And hopefully I get surprised in a very positive way. And if not, it's all good too. I'll still play the game. I still love the game, but I'm not going to, expect something insane. Once again, if it is insane, I'll be very happy about it.
I think it's important to point out that, like, I know this has had some, shall we say, heated moments during the podcast with people's emotions running a little bit high by the looks of things. I'm going to play Helldivers every time they drop a new patch. Like, Helldivers is not gone. No way. And I just don't think that Space Marine is a threat to it, really. And it's a great game with a great community. And I think sometimes as gamers we need to be grateful that there are still games coming out with that, because my goodness, there is some trash out there as well. And
Concord.
Helldivers came out how many months ago now?
6.
Like literally nearly 6, more than that, isn't it? Wasn't it February?
About 7 months now.
Oh, 7 months
7
now.
months. So literally almost 7 months to the day, I think, actually. I think it came out on the 7th for some reason. So like, that is insane that we're still talking about a game that was $40 that was made by a AA studio and to this level of interest. I think we need to be grateful sometimes. And I'm not saying no one's grateful, but I don't know. I don't buy into all the hate and all the rage sometimes.
I don't know, FaZe. I think that, Helldivers was a fluke on launch, and now they're just balancing the game to what they originally intended, and Space Marines 2 is definitely going to kill it. Especially with the real launch coming out tomorrow.
Don't start this war again, bro. Don't start it again, bro.
I think Pipz and Eravin both definitely agree with me. Right, guys?
Okay.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I also will say at the once again, I got to bounce here, but I will say before I go, the only way to play video games is only play one game at a time. And if you play Space Marines 2, you cannot go to Helldivers 2 anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the only truth. So if you have already played it 1 minute, you are a hater for Helldivers 2. This is confirmed by Thicc Fillet himself.
Yes.
Anybody says there's anything different is just it's copium.
I also think that the common conspiracy theory that I work for Arrowhead and I'm the one nerfing all the weapons, that's definitely not
let me
true.
talk about that. Let me talk about that.
Especially the autocannon.
I can confirm you do.
No. Of course not.
Yes, you do.
I
I've seen
don't.
letters. He sent me letters that he works with them. It's a signed contract for the next 27 years, chat. He cannot get out of it. It is confirmed.
Me trying to get the autocannon nerfed doesn't mean that I work for Arrowhead.
Thicc is a sleeper AH agent.
It's
It's actually Alexis.
It's correlation. It's correlation, not causation. Or is it backwards?
Yeah. Oh man.
It's just a coincidence, guys.
Chat, I gotta bounce. Thank you so much for today, though. I appreciate you guys. I gotta go live, but it was a fun podcast, though. Eravin, Face, Delay, always a pleasure.
You're
See you later, bro.
Thank you so much, boys. I will talk to you soon. Thank you, chat.
See you, man.
all right.
Enjoy.
Eravin and FaZe, thank you both.
Thank you. Always a
Thanks for
pleasure.
having us on.
Always.
Yeah.
I love Eravin's big brain breakdowns on the liver dives, dude. Every
That
time.
was my highlight. That was my
I'm
highlight.
like, why is he giga braining this?
It's fun.
Yeah.
But
was
thank you guys for coming on. And anyone else in the chat, make sure you go click the description and follow our co-hosts. Pipz is literally about to go live streaming some Space Marines. So if you still haven't bought the game yet and you want to know if you want to buy it, check them out. These two other guys are also streaming the game. Me and FaZe are probably going to play in a little bit. FaZe, I just need a quick break.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, we're going to go raid Pipz. And also, if you're looking for an assault or a tactical build guide coming out tomorrow from FaZe. And I think, Eravin, you're putting out a sniper guide tomorrow.
I am, yeah. Early game sniper.
And Thicc Fillet, I think you're putting out a Vanguard guide tomorrow. Yeah, I am. Oh, yeah,
I did
cool.
hear that.
Yeah. So
Watch
we
all three of them. Squad.
literally have 3 different class guides coming out. Well, I hope I get mine out by tomorrow. We'll see. And so yeah, all 3 of us, check us out. And when the Helldivers patch comes back, check us out. So thank you guys for coming on. We're gonna go raid Pipz.
Because we will be playing the Helldivers update because we still love Helldivers too.
No, Space Marines killed it. All right, we gotta end it there, boys. Yeah, we'll be playing
See
the
you later.
Helldivers update. All right, peace, everyone. Stick
Take
around for
care,
the Pipz
folks.
raid.